Looking for some nerdy nostalgia, gaming geekery, or pop culture points and previews? You're now tuning in to the G Podcast, your premier pop culture and gaming talk show featuring the most dedicated, up-to-date, and opinionated team of the craziest gamers and online denizens this side of the internet. Sharing news, views, thoughts, or just plain having a great time, join us and listen in on the hype, the nostalgia, all the awesome bits, all by the wildest content creators on Facebook Live. Featuring hashtag Activo Positivo Senpai Charlie Palito, Secret Base's resident FGC Demon Ravenize, comic nerd streamer and gaming blogger news authority and super snoop Noch, everyone's favorite passionate stream panda bear JC, the nicest rally hat wearing RPG head gamer Papi Raffy, POPMuG Podcast's mouth and one half of the GoriGori Gaming Battle Bros BJG, and the ever elegant FPS Femme Fatale meets Bing Bing 2.0. For gamers by gamers, for the pop culture community by your prime geeks and nerds. This is G, Games, Geeks, and Good Times.
Wala na intro. Di natapusin yung intro namin. Simulan mo na tong show, BJ.
Sayang oras eh.
Nasa mo na mamamalig ng aming timer. Magandang welcome to another episode of Gamers, Geeks, and Good Times show. We talk about everything pop culture, geeky, nerdy, and everything in between. But a very appropriate greeting for everyone is, of course, Tabi-Tabi po. Mga Tabi-Tabi po. Meron kami baong Choc-Nut dyan. Meron kami baong Choc-Nut. Choc-Nut, baka naman. Choc-Nut. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode of Gamers, Geeks, and Good Times. So let us know if the echoes are still there.
Wala na. Tapos na. Tapos na rin ang echo. Tapos na lahat. Pati ang G, ito na last episode namin.
Uy, teka lang.
Wala pa ba?
Tapusin.
Nagtabi-tabi po pa ako eh. Tatapusin mo agad. Wag ganon. Magandang gabi mga kaibigan. We have a special episode for you tonight. As you know, this is already a part 4 of our month-long celebration for KALAYAAN and featuring Pinoy content and Pinoy creatives. Nandito po kami. Kasama ako po. I am your host, DJ G, also known as the pinakamatangkad, pinakamatipunong Nuno sa Balatan Lupa. Joining me tonight is, of course, everybody's favorite captain, Captain Mike. Tabi-tabi po. Captain Mike. Tabi-tabi po.
What's up? Welcome to the G Podcast, episode 26. Nag-freeze ba?
Wala nang kasing awkward yung intro mo, Kap.
Oo. Huwag mo na
Okay na. Okay na. So, welcome everybody. Of course, ang nag-iisang supporter ng mga Nuno, Papi Raffy of YRP Gaming. Welcome to the show, brother.
Yes, magandang umaga, magandang tanghali, magandang hapon, magandang gabi, mga kaibigan. Again, welcome sa G Podcast episode 26. And matutuwa kayo sa aming episode ngayong araw na ngayong gabing to. So watch out, guys.
Yan ang astig. And of course, ang bantay ng sangguniang sanlibutan, ang nag-iisa, walang katulad, at wala rin gustong pumareha, Kagawad Ravenize. Tabi-tabi po. Magandang gabi po, Kagawad.
Ako po ang leader ng Aswang. Wala na yun.
I see what you did there.
Sinabi ko pang tagapagtanggol ka, tapos ikaw pala, baka leader ka namang aaswang, Brad. Di man kaya.
Huy.
Ay, sorry. Kakain mo na akong Choc-Nut.
Ako to, mga donut.
If any of these things are still not telling you what we have in store for you tonight, so get saddled in, boys and girls. Well, we have quite the evening for you. But before we get started, before we get the big boys to come and join the party, kumusta mga pare? Alam mo, may namimiss ako eh. So shoutout ko yung nag-iisang pinakaswabing, ay, nandito ka pala. Noch is in the house. No.
Hindi.
Wala nang intro. Yun na yun.
Hindi, ano talaga natin yan eh. Special guest namin yan talaga, isang beses lang. Kaso, pabalik-balik, makulit eh. Kaya, ayun. Ngayon napagod din.
Ang katotohanan po niyan, mga kaibigan, sabi nga po ni Kagawad Ravenize, Noch has always been a special guest for G. Hindi po membro ng G. Pero dahil nga nung gines namin, umanay-panay. Pero kung nasaan ka man, kapatid, na Noch, sana naman ay
huwag mo kami kalimutan.
Huwag mo kaming kalimutan. Huwag mo kaming kalimutan. Mga pasalubong mo, okay na ako dyan sa mga espada dyan eh.
Ako, espada lang. Okay, lechong baka.
Matindi to, lechong baka pa nga. Hindi ka ba gutom, Rap? Kumain ka muna bago mag-show. Hindi nangingin ka ng pasalubong na lechong baka. Grabe ka.
Sa weekend tayo magle-lechong baka.
Ayan. Lechong baka. Ang docs, baka naman. Gusto na mag-mukbang kami. Mukbang G. Yan. Ikaw, Kap, kumusta? Anong maganda yung t-shirt mo, Kap, mo? Ano yan?
To? This is the Team Manila X13 collaboration from 2012. September 2012.
Pagawad, pupustahan kita bilang isang opisyal. Ilang tahi ang ginawa ni Kap para hindi masira yung t-shirt? Pare, tignan niyo yung collar. Alam niyo yung collar eh. Ganito ang normal na collar eh. Yung kanya halos sakalin na siya ng t-shirt niya.
Hindi, ang tanong dyan, Brad, tingnan mo yung nasa baba ng t-shirt kung kita na ba yung pusod niyan.
Hoy, di
Dati po t-shirt yan, ngayon mid-rib na lang.
Mid-rib na lang, no?
Na pala, hanging blouse na pala ito, hanging shirt.
Yan. Gusto muna natin basahin ng mga comments. Just saying hello to everybody who's there. Who do we have there, Papi Raffy, that's on the comment section right now?
Yes, we do have, syempre, dyan si Chino sa ating stream ngayon. At
syempre.
Mode, tsaka kasama niya si Stanley. Si Aaron Pen, nandito rin sa Salamat din sa mga nagla-like ng ating stream. Kanina nakikita ko sa ating notifications. Maraming salamat po sa pag-like at sa pag-follow ng ating page. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah.
Sabi na, nasa pinakamalapit na ito. Ginaya ko lang yung intro mo, hindi ko nga magaya. Sobrang lupit eh. Chino.
Uy, umalis lang, nagbakasyon lang si Chino, hindi na mahinga yan.
Sorry. Anyway, let's get the show on the road, ladies and gentlemen. We have quite a few notable news that we would like to talk about today. There's not much happening in the week, but then again, those two things that we will be talking about in just a moment are very, very interesting things. We're going to kick off the show, as always, with our Rated G News. Dun, 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 dun.
Naging
yan ang importante. Kailangan yung spirit ni Chino nandyan pa. First off, ladies and gentlemen, from a newsreel recently happening, Tekken Cross Street Fighter is not canceled. Mistranslation to blame. In a news by enemy.com, it's not canceled, but it's definitely still on hold. Developer Tekken Cross Street Fighter developer Katsuhiro Harada confirmed on Twitter earlier today, or yesterday, which is June 22nd, that the game isn't canceled. Harada tweeted the news following numerous recent reports that the fighting game had been canceled. The reports were based on the interview in which Harada was mistranslated in saying that the game was dead. Harada explained the mistranslation in a longer post, blaming the error on the word okura iri, which is translated as meaning the project had died. Harada has confirmed that the meaning behind the word is that it has been shelved or put on hold for the time being. Although the title is currently on hold, Harada is still hopeful that the team can continue development at some point. We are still hopeful that TKXSF will resume development when the opportunity arises. However, such a title cannot be moved just to the convenience of one company in terms of marketing and branding, and it also affects each other's development resources, Harada mentioned. For more information about this really interesting news of mistranslation and lost projects, head on over to enemy.com. That's Nancy Mary, what's E? I forgot my Mary. Echo, there you go. At NancyMaryEcho.com/news/gaming news. Up next in our news, something really positive this time, something that's not shelved. Oh, may Nuno po sa likod ng camera ko. Pasensya na po. Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 9 is finally becoming an animated series. In a post by PCGamer.com, Square Enix's tale of a plucky thief who kidnaps a princess and then accidentally saves the multiverse is coming to the screen. An animated series based on Final Fantasy 9 is being developed by French Cyber Group Studios in collaboration with Square Enix. And wow, now that I summarize it, it is as prototypically JRPG plot as exists anywhere. A classic of the you're a teenager and the world needs saving variety. As reported by Kidscreen, the deal is inked and the project Bible is being finished up while Cyber Group Studios pitches the show to broadcasters. The CEO of Cyber Group told the publication that the goal was to begin production by the end of 2021 or beginning of 2022. It makes some sense to see this one in the hands of a studio that focuses on shows for kids. This FF9 animation will be aimed at 8 to 13-year-olds because FF9 has pretty family-oriented plot compared to the mainline Final Fantasy games around it. Last year was the 20th anniversary of Final Fantasy 9, and it's a nice game to play with modern mods like this impressive and comprehensive AI upscaling project that West took over the last year. For more information about that news coming up, that new cartoon, head on over to PCGamer.com/Final Fantasy 9 is coming to the screen. And there you have it. Those are our main news for the week. Nothing else kind of really mattered, but these two things did. And we're going to be talking about this really starting off with Tekken Cross Street Fighter. I just want to say that Tekken Cross Street Fighter is probably one of my most anticipated games because as much of a flop Street Fighter Cross Tekken was commercially, I love the idea of Tekken and Street Fighter coming into blows. And I actually thought that Akuma is going to be the start of that when he joined Tekken 7. But let's hear it from Kagawad. Kagawad, ano sa palagay mo, pare? I mean, you had an interesting point, but Harada saying that it's not canceled but is still on hold. What do you think about that?
Bago yan, gusto ko lang pasalamatan si Maring Shield Malano for 135 stars.
Galante.
Marami pong salamat.
And thank you po. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, kasi about Jan, we expected it to be canceled na. So when the news came in, it was confirmed na canceled. So we're like, there's nothing really to talk about, diba? Kasi canceled na. But then the next day, Harada posted na it was a mistranslation, diba? Then everyone started going nuts. Everyone started going nuts na, uy, buhay pa pala tong project na to. Yeah. So I'm thinking na they're trying to garner interest for this game, 'di ba? Kasi we know na before yung Street Fighter Cross Tekken, it had all the attention sa FGC, 'di ba? Kasi Tekken tsaka Street Fighter yan 'di ba? But it flopped. 'Di ba? Pero dito tinitingnan nila kung ano yung interest ng tao kasi if they just announce na ayan na Tekken Cross Street Fighter, katulad lang yan ng dati, ganun ang isipin ng iba, 'di ba? So kasi after ng main game, like after ng Tekken 6, 'di ba? We had Tekken 5, 'di ba? Tekken Tag 2, Tekken Tag 2, sorry. Tekken Tag 2. So nagiging tradition ngayon ang Tekken Tag after the mainline game, 'di ba? So I'm thinking after ng Tekken 7, this is probably what we're gonna get. Tekken Cross Street Fighter. 'Yun ang nasa isip ko.
Another tag game, right? Basically.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking na 'yun ang maukuha natin.
Kayo ba Captain Mike? Did you ever, get to play Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and what does this mean to you that its supposed natural predecessor, which is Tekken Cross Street Fighter, was thought to be dead and then confirmed to be just on hold? Tama yung sinabi ni Kagawad na parang they're testing the waters for excitement and support. Will you support this, and did you have any memories for the first iteration of the game?
Yung first iteration para sa akin, no, na I have not played it. Kasi hindi ako magaling sa fighting games eh. So I just watch like any other any other person would. I saw kasi ito, remember, it's Street Fighter X Tekken. So ang itsura niya is mukha siyang Street Fighter.
Street Fighter 4 to be exact, yes.
Correct. Diba? Dahil ngayon ito, Tekken X Street Fighter, will I be seeing some side steps from the likes of Rashid?
Puputulan muna kita, Mike. Puputulan muna kita kasi birthday ni Maring Shield. Birthday.
Birthday na!
Birthday.
Pala, eh. Happy birthday, Ate Shield. Happy birthday sa'yo. Sensya na, hindi sync ang banda namin medyo kulang pa kami sa practice.
Practice kami maayos.
Pero sasabihin ni Chino, wala na intro. Happy birthday. Alam mo na yun.
Alam mo na yun.
Also, by the way, bago tayo magtuloy, nabanggit mo rin lang naman yun si Chino. Ang sabi niya, gusto ko makita yung shirt ni Cap full body, 130 stars. Yan.
Oh.
Ayan.
Mike, alam mo na, Mike.
By one.
Mike,
sige na.
Alam mo na.
Para sa ekonomiya. Hindi naman ako sasayo, di ba?
Inaka 200k, sige. Pakita mo yung 200k.
Hashtag Adonis Captain Mike. Hashtag Adonis Captain Mike.
Adonis.
Inaka, yung pangalan mo,
ha? Ng malalim, eh.
Ayun.
Nga ako ng malalim para sa
Adonis ka.
Tatayo, baka mamaya, pagulat sila.
Sabi ni Shield,
makita nila pagtayo.
Gift nyo na sa akin, nakita yung t-shirt ni Cap, if totoong kasya pa. Ayun nga, may pag-doubt. May pagda-doubt, friend.
Huwag ganon, friend.
Ano yun sinasabi mo, Mike? Ano ulit yung tuloy natin?
Yun. So,
is he waiting? He said that if would he be expecting side steps from the likes of
Rashid?
Oo nga, no.
Kasi yun eh. Kasi ngayon, parang ang ginawa kasi, pag pinansin niyo yung title, it's Street Fighter X Tekken, parang yung mga Tekken characters ang nag-immerse dun sa Street Fighter universe.
Yeah.
Kung binaliktad natin yun, ito mga Street Fighter characters naman ngayon ang nag-immerse sa Tekken universe. Will I expect more action from the Street Fighter characters? Will this be a better version versus versus dun sa Street Fighter X Tekken? We'll not know so far, no? Pero judging from Harada's reply and his comment, mukhang may aabangan tayo.
To be honest, I never thought of that, Rashid, in a Tekken setting. Kasi we always see him as a Marvel character. That's how we always see Rashid, yeah.
True.
Pero,
and the only character that could trump Rashid as a Marvel character-ish person, si Akira. Kasi may air combo si Akira sa SM5 eh. Grabe yun eh.
Yeah, and then ngayon na iniisip ko lang na na tawag dito. Na si Rashid, no? Nasa Tekken, parang di ko
Oy, teka lang. Sorry. Salamat, Chino, sa pag-hashtag ng Adonis Captain Mike. Pero gusto ko yung sinabi mo, for 130 stars, tanggalin mo yung jacket mo, Kap, para lang sure si Shield.
Lumig-lamig dito eh.
Kaya pala
Maraming salamat sa stars, Papi Chino.
Yan o.
Talantian si Chino.
Mga sales, yan. Matipuno.
Kasya pa,
Matipuno.
Matipuno, pati yung font ng Trese naging bold, dati italic.
Matipuno.
Bold, no?
Matipuno, batang Pure Foods.
That's the result of the pandemic vibe. Adonis, eto na. Takot na kayo.
Tag nyo nga Adonis, tag nyo yung page ni Captain Mike Gaming. Unang-unang streamer na sa Pilipinas sa sali.
Bago natin tuloy, so shoutout ko na rin pala sila Felix, na nandito, Felix Ackerman, welcome sa stream. Magaling yan sa page ko, sa Captain Mike page. Marami rin nagre-respond dun sa ang hirap daw mag-blend ng universe ng Street Fighter sa ng Tekken. Parang Marvel versus Capcom collab siguro ang magiging delivery.
Yeah, but
No.
Akuma already showed that it's possible.
Yeah. No, actually, sinabi nga sa interview, di ba? Yung model ni Akuma was the one that's gonna appear into that game na, Tekken Cross Street Fighter. Yun mismo yun. Oo.
Makakita ba tayo ng tornado kaya, no? Kay Rashid o kaya yung mga...
Naiiwasan.
Hindi nila ilalagay si Rashid. Hindi nila ilalagay yun, si Rashid. More like yung mga basic characters na sila. Chun-Li, di ba? Yung mga iconic talaga.
Honda, ganyan.
Oo, yung mga
Sanggip, no? Na-imagine ko si Sanggip sa
Yes.
Si tawag dito, what's his name? The fat dude in Tekken.
Rufus.
Si Tekken.
Hindi nagpatama talaga siya. Si Bob.
Bob.
Si Bob, yes.
Bob is not the main character, but he made it into Street Fighter Cross Tekken. So malay mo, Rashid is probably an updated version of El Fuerte. Maybe he'll make it there.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll never know. Tama.
Well, hopefully we will. Kasi sabi na Rada, we will. Huwag kayong will never. Pag will never, wala na. Tapos na.
Oo. Believer.
The possibilities of this announcement is endless eh. Ganda. Yan.
Kailangan natin magsuot ng Never Give Up shirt. Kailangan natin magsuot ng Never Give Up shirt.
Word life and never give up for Harada.
Word life.
Word life. Anyway, you know what the possible when you talk about possibilities, let's talk about Final Fantasy IX having an animated series. Now I just want to start this off by saying having an animated series of something is getting quite the traction nowadays, don't you think?
Yes.
Medyo dumadami yan. You got Castlevania, you got Trese, you got new iterations. Even Devilman had an animation ulit pinakita sa Netflix. So what do you think about this? I'm a fan of FF9. Papi Raffy, I'm pretty sure you're a JRPG fan. So what can you say about having a TV show or an animation based on this game, in particular FF9?
In the first place, hindi ko expected. Actually, nagulat ako dito dun sa news na nakita ko. Kaya tuntua din ako. So, kung itutuloy nila ito as an animated series, full support ako. Kasi, again, we only see this yung mga gantong is only for games lang talaga. So, if you're going to actually put this in an animated series or kahit movie man lang, at least may ibang makaka-appreciate yung mga hindi gamers. Kasi 'di ba, alam naman natin na flop na ang Final Fantasy before dahil dun sa Final Fantasy yung pinakaunang movie nila,
Spirits Within.
Spirits Within. Tapos medyo hindi naman maganda ang reviews regarding do sa FF15 na mga ng mga movies. Nila. Not everyone likes those kind of pero kung ito siguro kung ibebase nila dito sa game na to yung animated series, cool, it's gonna be a good one.
Right.
So excited ako for this one, so I'll be expecting more of it.
But how would you want this to play out? Because I just want to remind you guys that yes, we have had Spirits Within, which is I didn't care for that at all, and we also had King's Glaive, which is part of FF15. But you also had Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Right? And Advent Children, as great the animation was ahead of its time, and the story was wonderful. Only the people of Final Fantasy VII could relate to that because it doesn't offer any background story. It doesn't really introduce the animation to new audiences. You'd have to know what Final Fantasy VII is for you to get the full effect of it. How would you, Papi Raffy, want FF9 to come out as an anime?
Ako siguro
that would make it into a success.
Siguro parang talagang sa anime na alam mo yun, na every time kunyari may makikita kunyari si Garnet, makikita parang may at the background niya makikilala siya dun sa background habang alam mo yung may ginagawa siya, something like that. Para may mga ganong para malaman ko ano yung magiging nila, para yung papel nila doon sa story, and so parang the usual anime lang talaga. Hindi yung at saka bago nila simulan to, always lagyan nila ng trailer such as the usual anime na may kung ano magiging premise ng story, may synopsis, something like that.
Nice. Ikaw, Ravenize, you've had your share of RPGs also. But what's your take on Final Fantasy 9? And they didn't even go for the first one. They went straight to 9. And come up with an animation for it. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's not a secret to most of my friends na FF9 is my favorite Final Fantasy game of all time. I played this game like 5 times. 5 times ko siyang nilaro. I just love this game kasi it's a very approachable Final Fantasy main series. 'Di ba? Napaka-approachable niya, very light-hearted. It doesn't need like yung mag-isip or ano. It just welcomes you to their world. 'Di ba? Ganun ang Final Fantasy 9. And you know, there are some concerns about the animation and how they will handle the heavy tone, yung mga ano. Final Fantasy 9 never had a heavy tone in the first place. So those people that are saying na they're concerned about the heavy tone of the game and you know like yung mga bibigat na storya and you know those kind of you know complaints. Yun yung mga hindi naglaro ng Final Fantasy 9.
Totoo.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Because this one is very lighthearted. Out of all the Final Fantasy games, ito ang pinaka-lighthearted na series. Like, this one...
Pambata.
Yes! Yeah, ang approach kasi ng Final Fantasy 9, yung storya niya, I would say close to like the feel-good Studio Ghibli movies. It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah, so, you know, yung mga tao nagsasabi na they're concerned about this and that, they're the ones that, you know, that didn't play this game. Walang ano, if there are some, you know, like yung mga depressing moments and all, there's this ano din, yung parang predictable na they will overcome it, 'di ba? Ito lang yung series na ano na wala masyadong casualty, to be honest
Totoo. Actually, tama ka. Studio Ghibli, you know, it's actually this Final Fantasy. I remember playing this with my brother back in PlayStation 1. And this was a sigh of fresh air, a sigh of relief and a breath of fresh air after playing 7 and 8. Kasi very, very serious yung tone ng 7 tsaka 8.
Yeah.
And then you finally have this cutesy back to fantasy kind of thing. And which is always very appealing to me and my brother. So I like it. Ikaw, Captain Mike. Sorry, please go ahead.
Just to add, kasi yung Final Fantasy 9 was meant to be a throwback to the roots of Final Fantasy, 'di ba? Kasi 'di ba 7 and 8 they took out like the job. Hindi, they took out like yung mga black mages, 'di ba? Yung mga thief,
yeah, and they
diba?
have tech as in super heavily. Ito at least ang tech sa Final Fantasy 9 steampunkish lang. Pero yung
Alexander lang naman ang nakikita ko steampunkish doon.
Tsaka even yung mga namatay sa Final Fantasy 9, to be honest, you don't feel bad about it. Kasi they deserve to die. It's like the good versus bad story, you know. It's a typical good versus bad story, pero napaka lighthearted lang niya talaga, especially the beginning yung kay Vivi. Yeah, I can't wait to see it on an anime, 'di ba? Kasi nakakatuwa yung part na yun, yung storya ni Bibi sa una, yung gusto nilang manood ng teatro pero wala sila ticket. So they have to climb up like, you know, kung saan sa ang rooftop.
Sa roof, sa rooftop. With the help of nung mga niya. Naging friends na doon.
Tsaka yung how they meet each character sa game. I can't wait to see it kasi napakasaya lang ng FF9. Napakasaya lang niya talaga. Na I don't mind, like, you know, after this podcast, like I can sit down and play it again. I don't mind, you know. It's that easy to approach. That's Final Fantasy 9.
Right.
Yun lang.
Ikaw, Captain Cap, you know, with all the lovable characters, you know, like Steiner, Vivi, si Coral. What are your fond memories of if you have played Final Fantasy 9? And what would you like to see in the animation?
I have not touched Final Fantasy 9, although may game na akong kinuha sa sa phone ko. And dahil yung itsura niya kasi for me is parang hindi siya umapil sa akin nung back then eh. So nung nabasa ko tong news na to, the one that got my attention is yung gusto kong maging approach sila dito. Kasi pag tinignan mo yung characters ng Final Fantasy 9, they're basically should appeal to kids eh. The company Cyber Group Studios, ang group na to, ang focus lang nila up to 12 years old lang.
8 to 13.
8 to 13. So yun lang yung gagawin nilang doon. So what I'm expecting is gumawa sila ng mga side story, yung mga story na hindi pinapakita doon sa game. Gumawa sila ng mga adventures na Kasi if you look at, here's a reference, Final Fantasy Brotherhood, Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood, action pack yun, pero pinakita doon yung mga stories pinakita yung individual stories ng mga characters doon na wala sa game. So what I want to see is make it light for the kids, give them reason to buy the game, make them enjoy the stories. Huwag kang magulo dyan, Raffy, kung makakain ka ng Choc-Nut.
Hindi,
Can you still buy FF9 though? I mean,
yes.
Yeah, it's
it's still
Android.
Yeah, the best way to play it ngayon is through your phone. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like 500 to 750 pesos ata sa
Switch or phone. Yeah, Switch or phone. If you want, if you want it to look good, play it on PC, pero I'd rather play it on the go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, eto pala. Oo. Just to add lang, BJ, just to add lang doon sa sinabi ni Mike. Actually, Final Fantasy 9 covered that in depth, like talagang kinover nila every side story of the character. That's where Final Fantasy 9 shines the most. Kasi every character in the game may moment. Kasi, while you're talking to this NPC right here, diba? Story of Zidane, ganito, usap sila. And then you have the option to press select to see what's going on with the other character while they're not in the screen. Diba? Lilipat ngayon yung storya sa Yeah, that's where Final Fantasy 9 shines the most.
Right.
Yeah.
Yung ATB nila, no? Active time ba, active time event nila, yes.
Oh, ATE,
Meron pa dito. And even on the some pages, they're commenting na napaka-underrated daw ng Final Fantasy 9 kumpara sa ibang parts ng Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And that alone tells you na the more reason they should push for this for this animated series.
Agreed.
Yep.
Right. I was just going to say though that you're right when you mentioned that every single character has its own backstory, because that was the allure, because that's how you fell in love with him. And unlike Final Fantasy 7 where you remember the characters because of the bad things that happened to them.
Yes.
The Final Fantasy 9, you remember the characters because of their tawag doon yung redemptions nila eh. Steiner was running away from something. Vivi was insecure, and fucking what's her name? That I always see her at the moment. Quina. You don't know what she does. He or she doesn't even know what she does. But she's a blue magic practitioner that we haven't heard about a lot in the last iteration. So it does give you a preview of what it is. So yeah, man. I mean, I wanna see it. I wanna watch it, because that definitely will bring back feelings.
Yes.
Lalo na yung what's his name? Si Coral. Alam mo, astig, Pero once you get into his story, I mean, it's almost, what I can the closest thing I can put this to would be Breath of Fire 4. In terms of story and in terms of relatability with the characters. Ang ganda lang talaga. So, dito bebenta yan, pare. I'll watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Did they say where it's gonna be? No, hindi, no?
Wala pa naman.
Wala
Ako
pa.
excited ako, by the way, dun sa magiging take nila ng story kay Eiko, una. Kay Vivi, obvious na syempre magi expected yan. Kay Eiko, kay Queen at saka kay Amaranth. Yung tatlo yung kung ano yung magiging iteration nila dun sa story nila. Kasi very ang ganda ng story actually nung tatlo on how they develop their powers on yung journey nila bago nila makilala
actually si Amaranth is the most
ako.
Yeah, Amaranth is the most boring character there in Final Fantasy 9. Like, to be honest. Like, he has nothing.
No. Kasi this is remnant, this is remnant of the astig pakul quiet type of 7 and 8.
Oo, hindi siya bagay sa Final Fantasy 9 yung personality niya. Oo. Ang talagang nag-shine dito sa akin sa Final Fantasy 9 si Steiner tsaka si Vivi. Kasi Steiner kasi has this hindi niya alam kung ano yung susundin niya. Yung nararamdaman niya o yung trabaho niya. Yun yung kaya that's why I love Steiner for that. Yeah.
Right. We could go on and how beautiful this is. But we're definitely looking forward to it. That's for sure. We're looking forward to the animation. Just as we are looking forward to more news about Tekken Cross Street Fighter, but those are our news for the evening. And I'd like to point out one thing though, that both of our news items brought a little bit of emotion back, right?
Yes.
Yun yung point nun eh. Ano and be all of what we featured today. It kind of digs into an old buried feeling of what it was. But talking about old and buried feelings from our childhood, nothing is more ancient. Nothing is more primal.
Para si Mike yan
Ha? Now, you beat me for 1 second. Tapos sabi ko, nothing is more ancient, nothing is more primal than Captain Mike and fear.
Yes.
The very first thing, apart from love, of course, because we have to promote happiness and positivity,
Of course.
is takot. Right? And I would go out on a limb and say na at one point tinakot kayo ng mga binamahal niyong magulang at mga kapatid kahit lolo't lola niyo na pag hindi ka natulog,
kakain ka na.
Maririnig mo yung aswang. Yeah.
Kakatok sa bubong.
Tapos may maririnig ka daw na pagka malakas daw, tik 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 tik, pag ganyan, malayo. Pagka mahinang-mahina na parang tik 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 tik, parang ganun. Malapit na daw yun.
May narinig ako BJ May narinig ako nagpunta ako sa labas, 'di ba? Nagpunta ako sa labas. May narinig mo sa gabi yung tik 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 tik. Narinig mo yun? May narinig ako sa labas, pare. Punta ako.
Ano sabi?
Squirtle, ganun, Squirtle.
Ba naman pala?
Ang tado.
Di ko alam pare kung ano yun. Di ko alam pare kung ano yun, pero yun yung narinig ko. Di ko alam kung ano yun.
Squirtle. Naging pang...
Buti squirtle lang narinig mo, hindi Wendigo. Punta yan sa X-Men. Wendigo.
So, nasa US pa naman yan si Almond. Di ba?
Nasa US, no? Kaya Squirtle.
Nabanggit na naman ni Almond yung Squirtle na yan. Ang sabi ni Cian Ibanez dito, shoutout Kagawad, parang Pokemon lang ang peg natin. Ashiko ba yan? Sumakto pa.
Hindi, Shan, alam mo kung bakit? Shan? Kung bakit parang Pokemon? Kasi I wanna be the very best.
Yan! Wait. Ulitin mo nga. You want to be the
very best.
Like no one ever was?
Oo, yan. And to catch them is my real test. Oo.
And to train them is their cause, right?
Yun na yan.
Ay, nakabisado ko yan. Idol ko si Jason Page. Kala nyo.
Wait lang. Bago tayo magtuloy. Wait lang. Andyan si Andy Best sa ating stream. Hello, Andy. Hello, Stay Andy.
Hello.
Hello.
Ayan. Iba daw naririnig niya sa sa labag, tiktilaok daw. Dami sa gabi, galoko-loko.
May manok kami rito, tumitilaok sa gabi. Hindi ko malaman. Parang gusto ko litsunin eh.
Ito, sabi ni Aaron Pen, kala ko si Terry daw kagawad na. Sabi niya ganun.
Si Terry na yan. Terry bakit ba palagay mo ganun ang get up ni Terry Bogard? At hindi sila nakikita ni Andy Bogard? Kasi nga, panggabi si Terry.
Night shift.
Night shift eh.
O yung Terry.
May business yan.
Ako yung Terry sa Itbulaga, si Honor sa Itbulaga.
Terry Honor. Bawal lumabas! Pasok! Ganganon ka, no? Ayan. Anyway, mabalik tayo dyan sa mga ganyan, One of the things that really put us into place, ilang makukulit na bata ng 90s, was this little movie or a string of movies that really brought out the worst in our fears, the worst in all of Philippine mythology. I'm a huge fan of Filipino folklore and Philippine mythology, but it's because of this string of movies na, it wasn't, if you look at it now, it hasn't aged well, but it's still a gem to go back to. So ladies and gentlemen, sit back, enjoy and relax, and join us, and stay a while for listen as we talk about Shake, Rattle, and Roll.
Stay a while and listen.
Anyway, mga kaibigan, ito po, I just want to start out this conversation. Shake, Rattle, and Roll, by far, has proven to be the catalyst. Okay, the catalyst for me, for my generation. Don't know about Captain, but my generation. When we started to imagine about what is out there in terms of mga kababalaghan, mga Philippine stories that would creep us out. Because Shake, Rattle, and Roll, as long as this running series is, brought out the scariest of our imaginations and put it in front of us on the big screen. Saktong-sakto po yung TV namin, gawa po sa kahoy. Dahil ganyan ang pinanonoora namin noon.
Dati may pa, di ba? May yung parang may ganun pa na. May bukasan pa na
Oo. And Shake, Rattle, and Roll went on to inspire, a lot of things moving into the present day, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I would have to say that Shake, Rattle, and Roll started the whole pop culture penetration of stories of Aswang, stories of, the ghoulish, the scariest of all Philippine mythology. I want to ask you, you're probably... I don't know if you still get to watch them over there where you are, pero ano bang naaalala mo diyan, pare? And start off with your favorite Shake, Rattle, and Roll episode.
Okay, pinaka-paborito kong Shake, Rattle, and Roll is yung Aswang. Yung
Alin
Aswang. Shake, Rattle, and Roll, yeah. 3 ata yun, 3. Yeah, I'd say 3. Batang si pangalan nun? Si Manilin yun. 2 ba yun? 2? Yeah, 2. Pero yung 'di ba nagpunta sila sa sa piyesta, 'di ba? Hindi nila alam na Aswang pala yung kasi parang napaka-original lang sa akin nung storya na yun at that time, 'di ba? Tapos kung accessible pa ba sa akin ng Shake, Rattle, and Roll yung mga sumunod, 'di ba? Hindi. Ngayon pero dati nung when it came out hindi.
Yung post mo, pare, may laman loaded yan. Accessible pa ba sa akin? Putya sige, oo. Pero pero yun ang nakakatakot sa'yo, pare. Nakakatakot yung storya no? Imaginein mo. Kaya nakakatakot yung lalabas ka kung kanina ka sasama. Yung pala Aswang, no? Tapos, naalala mo ba yung kwento no? Kung naalala mo ba yung kwento no? Nung si Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Reyes. Si pinatay, si Ana Roses.
Oo. Hindi naalala ko dun yung maskara nung headship nila. Pangalan ng aktor na yun? Si
Siyempre.
Rex Cortez.
Rez Cortez.
Rez Cortez. Oo, yun. Yung maskara niya. Tapos yung lang talaga, yung kinakain nila, yun yung naaalala ko dun, yung kinakain nila na parang, yan? Yung alam mo yun?
Wait, isa pang yan?
Sabi ko, ano yan?
Go. Say it again.
Sabi ko, ano yan?
Yay!
Oo.
You know?
Hindi, kasi alam mo dati, ito ang ano talaga, memories talaga na shake, rattle, and roll. Alam mo yung bata ka, makulit ka, diba? Kahit ano sabihin ng nanay mo na hindi ka makikinig, you just, do whatever you want. Pero shake, rattle, and roll, pag alam mong shake, rattle, and roll na ang palabas, every kids will wait for it na ipalabas na sa TV and you will just sit your ass down automatically. Na without wala nang sabi-sabi. Lahat ng bata sabay-sabay pa manonood dyan, takutan yan. Diba?
May ano pang unan. Ganun ba sila?
Oo. Hindi, other than Aswang, I mean hindi ko to paboritong storya. Naaalala ko lang siya. Alam mo yung tulay na storya.
Anong episode?
I think that was 3 din ata yun. 3. Pero ang storya niya, si Aiza Sigera, si Aiza Sigera, si Aramina, tsaka si Matet de Leon. Bata pa sila. 6 ba siya?
Yes.
Pero yun tulay.
Aramina, Matet de Leon, Tomtos. Yes.
Yan. Yeah, I'm bad with numbers. I'm bad with those numbers. Pero yung storya niyan, ang di ko makalimutan. Kasi yung image lang talaga ni Tomtos na yung luwa yung mata. Yung luwa yung mata. Syempre nung bata ka, kasi ito dati, nung bata ka, you don't see kids na it's either the Tyanak or the adults yung mga nakakatakot, 'di ba? Pero yung mga bata na kasing edad mo tapos may nakakatakot ang itsura, parang it will stick to your mind. Mamaya kalaro mo pala 'yun. 'Di ba? Tsaka yung storya lang ng tulay kasi ito 'yon. So, do sa tulay na 'yon, kung gusto nila makita ng anghel, liga dito sa tulay. 'Yun yung 'di ba? 'Yun yung sinasabi. Liga dito sa tulay. Di madaming bata ang tumalon dun sa tulay. 'Di ba? Tapos nung tinawag nila yung spirito dun sa sa tulay, nung tinawag nila yung spirito dun sa tulay, ayun, dun naglabasan lahat ng bata na namatay, mga naka-uniform na pangsimbahan. Tapos yun, kinakausap nila. Pero there's just one stupid part there na alam mo yung sila lang yung nakasalbabida na nalulunod.
Well, as I said, it hasn't aged well. All right. I mean, the execution. I'm not saying that the story is bad. I'm saying that the execution wasn't really good. But yeah. Yung tulay was the very first time that I saw a disfigured child in horror movies in the Philippines. Medyo grotesque kasi ang laki ng mata ni Tomtos eh. Ganun. Actually, kamukha na yung kapitbahay namin dati. Pero ikaw, Papi.
Hindi, last lang BJ. There's this one, ito nung bata ako, ganito na ako mag-isip nun. So ang issue nila yung refrigerator, 'di ba? Refrigerator yung storya. I forgot what number is it, pero yung story tungkol sa refrigerator. Nung bata ako, Part 2. So nung bata ako, ang sinabi ko, ba't di nyo nalang bunutin yung rep tapos na lahat ng problema mo? Kaya alam mo yung parang, alam mo yun, na ano lang ako sa na yun.
Binunot nila. Ano ka ba? Binunot nila.
Binunot ba nila yun?
Di ba? Oo. Binunot nila. Akala nila tapos na problema. Lakas nagalit.
Binunot pala nila talaga yun. Hindi. Sinabi ko lang yun based sa memory ko nung bata ako na parang nagkakasakit sila ng ulo tungkol dyan sa rep. Parang bunutin mo na lang para tapos na problema. Alam mo yun.
Okay, benta mo pakalakal mo. Di ba? Luma kaming rep. Pakuha nga. No. It's funny that you mentioned Frigidaire because that's a pretty scary story for me. Kasi nung bata ako, mahilig akong bumaba para uminom ng tubig sa kalagitnaan ng madaling araw. O yung maghahanap ka ng chibog, di ba? Gutom ka, madaling araw, naglalaro ka ng family computer at hindi ka matutulog. So, antayin mo muna matulog lahat. And when everybody's asleep, you're gonna tiptoe yourself downstairs to the fridge to get something to eat. Nung napanood ko yung Frigidaire, I kind of lost some weight because hindi ako bumaba. Ayoko.
You don't say.
Now that you mentioned it, it's true. Kasi yun din yung dahilan nung bata ako kung bakit di ako bumababa ng second floor nun sa bahay namin para kumuha ng tubig. Yun yung dahilan actually. Yeah, that's true yan.
Imagine mo, patay ang ilaw. Ikaw lang ang mag-isa.
Oo.
Tapos yung rep yung gumaganong-ganon. Ay, ayoko.
yung ilaw pa kasi ng rep no? Yung ilaw pa ng rep dilaw Kaya nakakainis
Either dilaw o yung puting-puti, no? Di ba?
Na-imagine ko kung sisilipin mo na gano'n, di ba? Titignan mo kung paano mamamatay yung ilaw ng rep. Kasi gano'n lang ang trip ng mga batang 90s, guys. We don't have Roblox, we don't have Minecraft, we have the Frigidaire. So, buksan namin yung gano'n, no? Atayin namin yung bago magsara. Naalala ko yung Frigidaire, ini-imagine ko, pagka ginagano ko, pag namatay yung ilaw, biglang may sisilip sa'yo na gano'n. Ay, ayoko.
Si Lilia kung tapay sisilip sa'yo ng gano'n.
Ay, si Lilia kung tapay pa po tayo. Hinakanganga, no? Oo. Yeah. Tanungin natin si Papi Raffy. Ito, mahilig sa pelikula to as far as I know. Papi Raffy, our childhood has been probably not ruined, pero it has made a mark on our childhood. Ano yung sayo sa Shake, Rattle and Roll?
Isa sa mga naano ko is, di ko makalimutan is, yung Kulam. Kasi, which is one of the, parang comedy siya, something na comedy na horror yung kanila. Yun yung pinaka-first na comedy horror ng Shake, Rattle and Roll. At doon nila actually parang parang binuhay nila kung ano talaga what Kulam it is, on how Kulam works. Parang yun yung nila. So yun lagi kay Joey Marquez.
Yeah. I remember that episode. Oo.
Yung yun nilalandi pa siya nung hindi ko makalimutan yun.
Tapos what made it really good was si Joey Marquez, mukha pang tanga, alam mo. Mukhang kawawa na, ewan mo, hindi mo maintindihan kung bakit hindi mo kamalasan ang inaabot niya.
Oo. Yun basta sa mga isa gusto ko, pero may mga iba naman na kasi ang tatagal na kasi nila. Pero yung isa sa mga di ko makalimutan talaga, basta yung isa rin ata sa Shake, Rattle and Roll na movie na si Lilia Contapay, yung inakala nilang aswang, yung pinatay nung taong bayan. Tapos
oo.
Manananggal. Tapos sino to?
Si Aiko yun, 'di ba? Si Aiko yun.
Hindi.
Yung madre.
Ay de las tama si Aiko. Si Aiko yung madre.
Tama. Si Aiko yung madre. Yung grabe yun.
Hindi, alam mo kung bakit tanda ko yan? Wait lang, singit ko lang, Raffy. Alam mo bakit tanda ko yung episode na yan? Doon ko first time na makita si Aiko naghubat tapos yung nagtatransform na manananggal. Tapos sabi ko, kailan naharap yan? Yung ganun na extent.
Oo, totoo.
Diyan din po nabuo, mga kaibigan, kung hindi na natatanong. Ang katanungan ni Kagawad Ravenize na, bawal ba o slabag ba sa batas ang iuwi mo ang kalahating katawan ng manananggal? And I'm just saying, he's probably gonna do something to the lower half. Right? I mean, it's similar to yung solusyon dahil binunot yun yung rep. Makakita ka ng manananggal, hanapin mo yung kalahati. Gamitin mo na imagination mo kung anong gusto mong gawin doon. Pero yun.
Tuloy mo nga, Raffy. Tuloy mo yung Raffy.
Tuloy mo. Sorry. Madre pala yung title. Sorry, Madre.
Madre. So, grabe yun. Yun, so yun na nga yung isa sa mga di ko makalimutan kasi nga, parang tumatak talaga sa akin. Siyempre, yung lugar namin before dito is parang ganun yung itsura ng bahay doon sa yung settings nung sa Madre. Tapos alam mo yun, doon ako natakot sa Madre that time. Alam mo yun, parang makakita ka ng Madre, parang sabi ko mamaya pag gumagano nila mamaya, ilipad na lang.
Which also, as a kid, I asked, paano naging manananggal ang Madre? Di ba alagad ng Diyos ito? Which then opened, a plethora of questions in my head. Wait, how the hell do you get into the church? Right? And then it gave me a different perspective about faith and holiness. Na Madre to diba? And she's vile and she's evil and Diba? Yun yung mga nag-open up sa Shake, Rattle, and Roll. Very nice picks. Yan, sila IC. Ay, pangalan nun ng bata? Yung si Tex.
Ice Mendoza.
Si Mendoza. Yan, si IC Mendoza. Si Tex. Sige. Captain Mike, nasaan ka na nagsushooting ang unang ano?
Hayop.
1984, pinapanganak pa lang ako nun.
Oo,
1984 ang unang movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first movie is around
Wow.
1984.
Wow.
Pero yun yung ano dun eh. Yun yung thing nung the Shake, Rattle, and Roll series. Ano.
Right.
Kasi only child ako, pero ang dami kong mga pinsan, no? At nung mga time yun, talaga matatakotin talaga ako. Kasi pag matulog ka lang mag-isa sa bahay, yung kasambahay namin, no, tinatakot ako nun. Siga, kakainin ka ng aswang, ganyan. Huwag kang lalabas-labas kung basta-basta. 'Di ba? Nung mga time na nagkakasakit ako, sa akin din kasi ako nung bata ako eh. Yung gumagawa pa sila nung kung ano-ano pa yung mga sinusunog nila noon para baka daw na maligno nga daw. So,
incenso ba ito, kamanyang? Yung mga sinusunog nila.
Kung ano mang amoy yun. I don't pag naalala ko, parang naamoy ko pa rin siya. The thing about that is, nung pinalabas na itong Shake, Rattle, and Roll na to, nung una ko pinanood was yung 1990 nun, kasama ko mga tito-tita ko nun. Tinatakot nila ako doon kasi takot talaga ako noon. As pinipikit ko yung mata ko. May one time pa nga umiyak ako. Back in the day, pag pinapanood ko siya, it's scary. And even until now, yung mga, sabi nga ni Aaron, the early 90s and yung mga 90s, yun yung mga nakakatakot para sa akin. Notable series ko, yung sinabi ni Raffy kanina, Kulam, dahil kay Joey Marquez. Kasi alam mo nakakatakot siya, pero nakakatawa pa rin siya at the same time. Tapos yung Aswang, yung kay Manilyn nun, kasi kung hindi nyo napapanood yun, it's online, ending scary. Tapos yung Maligno, yung kay Rufa at kay Monsur, also online. Pag pakita mo na social na nun si Rufa, tapos lalapitan siya ng Maligno.
Yung Maligno.
Pero isa rin sa hindi talaga makalimutan tao, yung Undin na storya, di ba? Yung Undin. Oh.
Yan.
Yes.
Manilyn din yun. So there are...
Alam mo, let me just say, Undin rose to notoriety, right? Na, alam mo yun, yung naging tawag siya, naging, bansag siya sa tao.
And to be pangit, mukha kang Undin. Yun yung tawag.
Halimbawa, nasa tubig ka, no? Tapos medyo petit ka. Pag maganda ka, parang kang mermaid. Pag pangit ka, Undin. Ganun, parang unfair, di ba? Hindi tama yung ganun. Pero, alam mo yun, the cultural relevance of the Undin transcends that of folklore because it became so ingrained into our culture that it turned into something na pagka-Undin, it's something that you don't like, di ba? Pero to be honest, nung binanggit mo yung Undin, I remembered it was a very it wasn't a very likable story to begin with. The story was kind of magulo, it was convoluted, there are too many characters there. Pero nag-stick yung idea ng Undin.
Right.
Kasi summer yun eh. And that was the time na hindi ka papayagan ng magulang mong sumama sa swimming kasi baka maundin
ka.
Yun.
Yeah.
Napaka weird nun. So okay. So let me ask you guys, huh? Now there was a period in Shake, Rattle, and Roll where it dominated, Philippine horror, right? Tapos plus, there are also a lot of things that, accompany it and complement it. Pero the one thing that you compare it to is a little TV show called Regal Shacker.
Isa pa yan.
And Regal Shacker, pare, is your TV version of Shake, Rattle, and Roll, right? And Napanood nyo ba yun? Because that would give you another dose of your Pinoy horror eh. Sinong hindi pa nakakapanood sa inyo?
Ako hindi. Kaya curious ako dyan sa sasabihin nyo. Yeah, hindi. Naririnig ko siya pero I never watch it. Kaya curious ako sa sasabihin nyo. Yeah.
Sige.
Ako siguro bigay ko yung sarili ko interpretation ng Regal Shocker. No? And to those who are watching, Regal Shocker is parang yung mga scary story, yung 'di ba yung mga kwento ni Lola Basyang, 'di ba, like fairy tales yung mga ano nun. Diba?
Siya yung opposite.
Parang if it was meant to be yung scary stories ang Regal Shocker is the thing. Kasi yung intro nun magsasalita muna si Kamatayan, which at that time, by the way, mad props to the effects. Kukwento siya ng intro niya, gives out the story, and then papakita ulit si Kamatayan, tatay siya, maglalakad siyang ganun. And yun yung for at least an hour or so na series, kasi umabot ng 1 oras yun eh. Maganda na ang effects nila ng mga time na yun. I mean, it's meant for TV. So medyo magka-cut corners ka lang sa pagiging gory niya. Pero the way it was told sa TV, it's nice. I mean, will it scare the hell out of you? Probably for some. Pero I give them credit for it. Maganda siya.
Yeah. Tawag dito kasi napaka-genius lang talaga sa akin nung mga early shake, rattle and roll. Kasi it scares you like through the imagination of mga simpleng bagay na alam mo yung bata ka, takot ka sa alam mo yung tulad doon sinabi ni BJ, takot ka kumuha ng tubig sa ref pag sa gabi, 'di ba? Napatay na lahat ng ilaw. Yung alam mo yung pag-iisip lang na gano'n, nakakainin ka ng ref and all, 'di ba? Tapos nasa banyo ka, 'di ba? Nasa banyo ka tapos biglang may dudukot sa yung undin. Oo. 'Di ba? Yung ganong ano lang talaga. Napaka-genius sa akin nung ano na yun.
'Di ba? Pag yung mga magulang mo, pag sabi nga ni BJ, every summer hindi ka pwedeng umalis dahil baka maundin ka.
Oo. Pati yung pagtingin mo sa madre, na parang
It feeds so much into irrational fear that they even made a story about a teacher who is, secretly impacto pala. Na alam mo, gwapo-gwapo. Si Edu Manzano yun.
Si Edu Manzano, oo. Yeah, tanda ko yan. Tanda ko yan.
Crush siya ng mga estudyante. Siyempre, ang reigning queen or princess of horror at the time, which is Manilyn Reynes, was also there. Gwapo niya, di ba? Matipuno. Yun pala, chemistry teacher pala. May pagka Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde pala to. And it gives you such irrational fear of things that I think the importance of the scare factor is not of what the special effects are, or what the stories are per se, but how the stories were told. It's so relatable eh. Okay, think about it this way. There was a show, I think it was after Guro, yung kapitbahay, si Aisha Sigera, yung bata siya, tapos may witawit. Alam niyo witawit?
Ano yung yung sa gubat yan, yung sa gubat yan, yung sa halaman. Yung sa halaman yan, yung pagpasok nila sa puno, pagpasok nila sa puno parang may engkantadya sa loob. Engkantadya.
Ang may engkantadya sa loob. Ano, kaharian? Paggawan?
Hindi, parang kaharian yun. Tapos mga witawit yun nasa loob. Parang parang leaf version siya ng undin, parang ganon.
Dryad.
Ugly.
Yes.
An ugly dryad. There we go. Yeah. So it's an ugly dryad. It kidnapped the kid na nandun lang sa tabi ng puno, and it gives you this fear of you cannot be climbing trees because you don't know what's there. Di ba? yung ganun. May witawit. Baka kunin ka. Another irrational fear was Yaya. Kung naalala niyo yung Yaya,
yes,
si Lilia Contapa Ogie Alcacid. Kasi dati, may mga sa atin, meron tayong na-experience natin. I'm pretty sure si Cap naka-experience siya. So merong Yaya, yung mga kasama natin sa bahay, mga kasambahay natin. And you would always be told na kung sa amin kasi kailangan magpakabait kami. hindi namin dapat bastusin eh. Si Captain Mike kasi nanliligaw yan. So anyway, ito yung bago niya, wag mong basta-basta popormahan ang yaya mo dahil hindi mo alam kung ano yan. Sabi ko sa'yo. Baka mamaya nakagat ka na, hindi mo pa alam, Captain Mike. Sinasabi ko.
Is that a warning?
I don't know. It's a warning for me. It's an experience for you, I'm sure.
Teka lang. May tanong lang dito. May nagtatanong sa atin, si Jacob Tan ng Vibe Monkeys.
Hey, Jacob.
Yes. Why does Filipino horror comics always have a theme of gore and sex? Same theme goes to local comics are like, is either before you have sex or after sex, the character dies in a freak way.
Okay, let me answer that. Let me answer that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this goes way back sa American storytelling of the Dracula and the Carmelas, 'di ba? So, the Carmelas will tend to have sex with, a normal people and then kill them. 'Di ba? Nagsimula yun sa mga Dracula imagination ng things, yung mga Dracula ni Bela Lugosi, yung mga ganun ba? 'Di ba? Kasi vampires, yes, vampires love sex. Doon talaga nagsimula yung trope na yun.
Right. If I may add, tama maganda yung Pinoy thought mo that even in the comics, there were a lot of Filipino comic books or nasa tabloids, mga comic strips na talagang pang matanda. Okay, adults.
Yeah. Right.
Okay? And at the time, gore, violence is not something that you would show to children. Remember, in the 1970s, Voltes 5 itself was banned for being too violent. So you now have a platform where you can go all out because you're tagging it for adults. Abay, lubusin mo na, right? And
right.
because adults like it, it's what sells. But it's not just a very Filipino thing. Sabi nga ni Kagawad, it started in the US. And let me give you another country that heavily applies sex and gore in their horror stories, and that's Japan, courtesy of Junji Ito. So, yung mga yan, it's adult themed kasi. So, might as well. Right? Might as well. But here's one thing that I will say though. Not every Filipino horror story revolves around gore and carnal desires. I mentioned one which is Kapitbahay, yung may witawit. But the one thing that I would really like to go to, that's probably not in the Shake, Rattle and Roll series, is Aswang with Alma Moreno and
I remember that.
Alma Moreno and Manilyn Reynes, and talagang that to me is the definitive Aswang movie. Diba? Nakakatakot yun eh. It's not Shake, Rattle and Roll, but it definitely took what Shake, Rattle and Roll has to offer and really turned it into a full blown thing. Which we'll talk about that sooner or later today. Now, I want to ask you this though. They went on hiatus, this particular gem of a series that spawned numerous imaginations to full bloom. They stopped doing this around 1997? 1998.
Ganun.
98. And then they made a less than, I would say less than impactful because it didn't impact me. But they made such a return back in 2005 with their first 3 stories, which is Oso, Aquarium, and Lihim ng San Joaquin. This was with, Ay de las Alas, maraming returning na artista dito. Did you guys get to feel it? Did you guys get to see it? And what was your reaction to, to the stories written here for the return of Shake, Rattle and Roll?
I didn't really watch it. Even I saw the trailer. Nasa Pilipinas pa ako niyan nung kasi ang tagline pa Shake, Rattle and Roll 2K5, 'di ba? Yun yung title niyan, 'di ba?
Parang parang wrestling eh. WWE 2K. Shake, Rattle and Roll.
Dapat yun na lang ang ilagay nila title 2K ganito, 'di ba? Basketball. Hindi Nakita ko yung mga trailer niya before, like it wasn't very appealing to me kasi I don't know, maybe I was a teenager na. Alam mo yung syempre pag teenager ka na, parang yung utak mo, di na ako naniniwala sa mga ganyan-ganyan. Teenager na ako. Astig na ako eh.
Parang ganon.
Siguro dahil sa ganon or hindi ko lang talaga na nagustuhan yung trailer nung pinakita. Parang hindi na siya impactful. Kasi the reason why the old movies have its own charm is the way it was made and the way yung quality ng movie itself, na pag pinanood mo siya, alam mo yung kalabuan ng low quality, yung mga low quality na pelikula, yung mga let's say 360p, mga 240p, mga panahon na yon, 'di ba? Tapos yung mas maraming mystery do sa ganong quality kasi when you see it on like the small definition or the high definition, parang wala na siyang charm. Alam mo yun? Yung old kasi pag pinapanood mo siya sa sinehan dati, yung hindi pa ganon ka-clear yung nakikita mo, 'di ba? And yung lang shrouded siya ng mystery. 'Di ba? Tsaka yung mga effect na ginagamit nila na alam mo yung magpakita lang isang tao may smoking effect tapos madilim yung background, 'di ba? That was the trope of Filipino movies na parating may smoke effect bawat bawat mumu o ano man nila lang, 'di ba? Yeah, balot ng misteryo yung mga shake rattle and roll dati sa bawat episodes nila. Tsaka like we said, 'di ba? They touch on your childhood fears. 'Di ba? Yung mga luma. Yung kasi yung mga bago na parang na lang eh. I mean, I do appreciate the fact though na I heard they did a story about the Robinson. 'Di ba?
Oo, yung ahas.
Yeah, pero I watch it. No. This is not how I want my childhood Robinson story to be told when I saw it.
Oo ka. Alam mo ba, every time nayayain ko si mama, and I hope my mom is watching, and I think my mom is, hi mama, my mama is watching me, na sabi ko, ma, hindi na tayo pupunta ng mall. O sige, mag-mega mall tayo. Ayoko na doon. Gusto kong punta yung Robinson. Ay nako, gusto mo makain ng ahas? Hindi na tayo alis.
Yung sabi ni Banana, that's exactly why Shake, Rattle, and Roll movies are good back in the 90s because of Peke Galyaga.
Yeah. I was actually gonna add on that, but yeah, I agree. Peke Galyaga.
Ang notable dyan, either Jose Javier Reyes, Manny Castañeda, saka si Peke Galyaga, yung tatlong yan. Yung tatlong yan. Pero pagdating mo sa 2000, wala na.
I've been involved in a lot of supernatural movies, but that's true. It's probably one of the things that made it really really good because it was directed by Direct Peke Galyaga. Captain Mike, you were saying something.
Hindi, the later Take, Rattle and Roll kasi if you check naman sa online yung mga listahan ng directors nun, they are actually experimenting on what they can still show the Philippine public Kaya lang yung iba kasi, yung mga kagaya ko na nasanayan na yung mga, sabi nga ni Almond, yung itsura mo pag yung image noon walang special effect. Yung kung ang special effects man hindi yung visually na special effects. Yung talagang pag sinabi mong may gumagalaw na multo talagang may multo talaga doon, and it's not made of special effects. For me, yun yung parang naninibago ako. Pero although sana lang if they're gonna throw in directors na syempre mga baguhan tong directors they should do more. In fact, sa dami ng pwedeng ng talents na meron tayo ngayon, it is best na ilagay to a TV series or in fact other media platforms.
Right. And I was gonna say that what really killed it for me was the reliance on special effects.
Yeah.
And the mysticism is gone, but moreover than that, the stories weren't as good anymore. Like the aquarium. You know, the sabi nga ni Kagawad, yung what do you call this? Yung mall. You know, the 2000s was not really that good, and hence a lot of people kind of not moved further in the Philippine mythology thing. That's what really killed me. You know, there were a lot of good attempts. You know, there are a lot of good attempts like Okay Okay, Tamawo. You know, they really went back to the creature feature, so to speak.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, because the kids that were afraid, sabi nga ni Kagawad Garina, hindi na ako takot eh. Right? And they were trying to market it towards new audiences that have no inclination of any fright back when they were kids. It's no longer scary for them. Kasi it's the time of special effects eh. Yes, Cap.
Pero, paano to? Itong notion na sinare ni Jacob, yung depth kasi nung gawa earlier yung mga before 2000, may depth as opposed to and again, that goes for any genre, not for horror, and then people rely on too much on the visuals na nung past 2000, unlike yung yung mga early 90s, diba? Konti lang eh, pero alam mo may fear factor, kumbaga.
Right. Kasi hindi na siya reliant sa story. And to me, you know, story is king. Premise is king. Thought in the narrative is absolutely best for me. And as much as we would like to, you know, to enjoy the latter iterations of it, I could not bring myself to it.
Yeah, you know, I'm reading the latest entries on Shake, Rattle, and Roll right now. I'm surprised na it got good reviews. Now I'm curious to see, like from 2010 onwards, they have good reviews. Pero this one catches my attention. Shake, Rattle, and Roll 14, The Invasion. It's a science fiction.
Yeah.
Why?
Invasion.
Like for me a Filipino setting and science fiction would never work talaga. Like for me, hindi pa tayo ganon ka-advance sa to do like an alien invasion on pabayaan nyo na sa problema na ng Amerika ang alien eh. Ang problema natin yung mga tikbalang, mga aswang. Yan lang ang problemahin natin.
White
'Di ba? Yeah.
Supernatural.
Yeah, same reason why I find Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow stupid. Yung kasi the story for that was Castlevania, 'di ba? We know the Castlevania. So Dawn of Sorrow, nasa Japan, napunta yung castle, 'di ba? Na parang isipin mo, problema na nila si Godzilla, si Sadako. Huwag niyo nang problemahin si Dracula, ba't mapupunta pa siya sa Japan? Yung ganun ba?
Correct.
Oo.
But you know, that's right. So, you know, a lot of people now went to what do you call this? Now a lot of people went to other forms of media because Shake, Rattle, and Roll, as good as the story is, as good as it was as a series, no longer could spark the interest, unfortunately. And that's why we will always treasure it. It'll always treasure it in our hearts as you know, a gem in the rough, a diamond in the rough when it comes to these things. Now it then turns its attention to the stories on other platforms, and I think because I have a stack of Choc-Nut, my friend. My friends, don't leave. I have something for you. Because I have a stack of Choc-Nuts, my very important informant has told me the location of a person who will help us talk about these things. It will help us talk about the things that are supernatural, that are related. Kasi pare sabi nga ni Kagawad, pare, isipin mo rumoronda ka sa isang gabi tapos bigla kang hagipin ng undin. Bigla kang kalabitin ng when crime takes a turn for the wheel, we call one person and yet one person. And I don't think I'm equipped to tell you, to tell the story. I don't think any of us is equipped to tell the story. In fact, nagsisinungaling po ako. Sabi, pag nag-play daw ng magandang intro, na music, pare, lalabas daw. Sabi nung informant ko eh. Pero nagsisinungaling ako. Munting Trese, hindi ako. Wala akong informant. Ako ang Nuno. Mga kaibigan, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, there's no other person that's going to be able to help us to talk about the lore, the myth, the magic, the weird, the supernatural, and the scary when it comes to Philippine mythology coming into contemporary age. None other than the co-creator of the now Netflix animation, then graphic novel, and supernatural investigative crime stories that we all have grown to love since the early 2000s. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our special guest for the evening, none other than Mr. Budjette Tan. Oh, tama ako
Budjette
Tan. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause, everybody. Welcome. Budjette Tan. Sir, good evening. Good evening. Sir, I need help. Hello, how are you? How are you from over there?
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me. I was a bit late. I don't know if I'm late.
Wala akong late.
Walang late sa amin dito, sir.
We're all good over here.
Good.
Thank you.
I just want to draw your attention, sir. As you know, this is like a very barkadahan kind of thing. May nagpa-flex po nung t-shirt niya.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Oo nga. Correct.
I don't know if you remember him. He actually posed with you back in 2012 in Manila in Market. Pinadala pa niya sa amin yung picture niya, sir. Para lang angat siya. Alam mo.
Wow, thank you.
Kasi it was a memorable time for me back in 2012. So when I got this one, I remember galing ako from Manila, from Tondo papuntang Market just to be in the signing and all that. Tapos got Trese na rin along the way, no? Kasi ganun ako ka-excited and that started it.
Wow.
Onti pa lang yung puting buhok niya noon nung panahon na yun, Sir Budjette.
Magulo. Grabe.
He actually had a neck back then.
I had a neck then. But thanks to the quarantine, things didn't work out so well.
Thanks to the quarantine, look, I lost my neck. No problem. But Sir Budge, thank you for joining us. You have no idea kung gaano kasaya to sa amin and for everyone that's watching right now. In fact, if you remember, Katrina Olanis is watching. She's saying hello, Kat.
Hello, hey Kat.
And we just kind of need your help, really. For now, let's start off with something that we want to get your input on. As a leading, kumbaga, you're now leading the charge, sir, with what's happened with Trese and all that. We're getting into a conversation as how we have to give the highlight, ladies and gentlemen. We're entering the segment right now. The highlight of Pinoy pop culture being penetrated by Philippine folklore. And here we go. I'm going to start off with a question about how do you now see the landscape of Pinoy stories in pop culture and how the world is now ready to take it on? Because let me tell you this, before Trese aired on Netflix, everybody was just waiting for it to come out, and we've never had a purely Pinoy driven story about our own culture and our own heritage told in such a fantastic way. There are a few things that caught it, like Blade fighting the Manananggal in his anime series, but this is pure Pinoy. So now, where would you say we are as a community in terms of the world accepting us in pop culture based on our history and our culture?
That's a tough question. I mean, yeah, you're right when you say there have been a sprinkling of Pinoy culture, at least in some global shows, right? So, as you said, Blade fought the Manananggal. He even teamed up with headhunters he went to and oh, by the way, the headhunters was called the Verdugo clan. He went to Sikihor. In Grimm, there was an Aswang. I think there was another show on the Sci-Fi Channel where they fought a Batibat. But it was depicted like a demon-like creature. What else? Stone had tikba. Stone, of course, with wheels. Probably the first time an American audience got to see Tikbalang, Duende, and Manananggal. Mm-hmm. What else? So Buffy, that new Buffy comic book where Kajo drew the cover, has a Manananggal and Manghihilot storyline in it. Where
the first
else?
player, yeah.
And then I think there's also somebody sent me. I guess it's an indie movie of it's a horror movie. American actors, but somehow it involves also a bangungot or a creature or spirit that lives in a tree. So it sounds like they were pulling that, from stories about the balete and things like that. So they've been around, but there's been no central focus on it, right? Usually it's us Pinoys that would go, hey, it's a Aswang.
Actually, yun yung reaction ko sa balete. Yun yung reaction ko sa balete story. na ni BJ sa akin yung 13 na tungkol sa balete drive. Sabi, uy, balete yan ah. That's my comics right there.
Exactly, right? So when we see these things being, posted. So I don't know, PJ, is the question. I mean, I don't know if this opens up. Most definitely, I think this is probably, a storyline where suddenly in one show, the world gets introduced to so many Filipino creatures of folklore and myth. I think maybe that's the big difference, right? So I guess that's what I was trying to arrive at. In the past, 10 or so years, 10, 15 years, the world has gotten to see bits and pieces about our folklore, but never enough to really make a big splash about it. So I think maybe that could be the effect of it. We don't know. I mean, we're starting to see some YouTubers, foreigners, react to Trese, give their reviews, give their criticism about it. But yeah, I think it, at the very least, then it has started a discussion about our folklore. I've also seen other websites and YouTube videos where they have started to explain to their audience, who are these characters, who are these creatures. So content about them is beginning to be made. And we will just have to wait and see where it all takes us.
Correct. That's really insightful. And what I want to say is, it's okay. It's back then it was a treat, no? But now it's such a big thing with what happened to the Trese anime. And we're allowed to talk about it, right? I mean, pwede natin pag-usapan yan ngayon. I mean, I'm pretty sure, kung hindi mo pa napapanood ng Trese, mga kaibigan, you go and watch it now. Because we're going to be talking about stuff that we like about it in a bit. Pero, we and the guys, we were talking about Shake, Rattle, and Roll kanina. And the funny thing was, we were saying that, Shake, Rattle, and Roll was the beginning of where we got scared, but we also got intrigued with all of these creatures and these stories. Katulad ng Frigidaire and the Manananggal.
Yeah.
Would you say that now, with all the movies like Aswang, Yanga, Once Upon a Time, si Dolphy naging tikbalang yan eh. And there was this movie in 1992. It's called Encanto. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. I think Francis Magalona was there. He was a duende that turned into a rapper.
Yeah.
Duende na naging rapper?
Oo. Natuloy
20
yun.
siya na naging rapper, pare. And then si Porak, si Roderick Paulate is this, vengeful lamang lupa that wants to wipe out people. Pilma Santos was inang kalikasan and she came down. And it all took place in Mount Banahaw, by the way. They shot it now.
Okay.
So, yung mga ganung kwento ba, Sir Budge? Were you, I mean, how do you think it would have been taken now? Kasi, just like, while we're hanging out here in the tindahan and, talking about these things, we realize that there are a lot of things that we can talk about when it comes to Pinoy folklore and mythology, because there are a lot of people who are creating it, but only for Pinoy audiences. Diba? It was never really made to appeal to outsiders. But now that Trese is out and appeal did it do? How do you think now our stories are going to evolve? May season 2 ba? Alam mo yun ba?
Hindi, may segment ako dyan, BJ, about sa mga questions. May segment tayo dyan in a bit tungkol sa mga katanungan na
Hang on, BJ. Give me 2 seconds. I can hear my kids screaming. Alhamdulillah. I'll come back. Sorry about this.
Sige, sir. Ayan. And medyo natanong ko po ng mabilis na galit yata.
Pero I'm sorry. In our live stream today, yung mga nanonood dyan ngayon, we got a particular space there. If you wanna ask our guests, feel free to ask them. Kasi syempre, as much as we'd like to ask Sir Budjette for about it, gusto ko rin marinig what's on your mind. Diba? Kasi this is the opportunity for you guys to take it. Kasi we would be more than happy to tell you a lot of things about Trese. And syempre, we'd like to see we'd like our guests to see your reactions.
Yes.
Okay, so going back. I'm reading right now. I'm reading Skyworld, and a very familiar character is there, and I like it, and I really like it. But going back to the movies that I mentioned earlier, yung Encanto and all of that, do you think it's gonna fly if the movies were shot now, Sir Budge? I mean, let's say if you're going to gauge the success of that kind of content coming out in the Philippines right now, how do you think people are going to react to it?
I think, and yes, I noticed that you tried to slip in, is there a season 2 question there? So let me just quickly answer that and say, I don't know. That's when Netflix announces it, we will all find out all together. That's all dependent on more people watching it, seeing how well it rates or how well it stays on the top 10, or will it get into the top 10 of other countries. But we are so thankful that it was on 18, 19 different countries, including Jamaica, and I'd like to find out why it was in the top 10 of Jamaica. So going back to your question of will these movies be a hit abroad, or for our global audience? Maybe yes, probably, I don't know. I mean, take a look at how The Ring became such an international sensation when it came out, but eventually it spawned remakes, and and Hollywood started to go through the essentially the backlist of Japanese horror, right? Because they offered something different, right? And there was something about the way it was produced that just made it appealing. I haven't looked into. I now am trying to wonder what was that one thing that made The Ring, spread, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was some kind of film festival somewhere. There needed to be that one place where an international audience got to see it, and that's why it spread. right? So the question now is, you know, when the next time Pinoys make a horror movie, the question sorry, just to end by, you know, going back to The Ring. When they made The Ring, they were thinking of the Japanese audience.
Right.
They were thinking of what will scare. We've done all sorts of horror movies. What can we do to scare the next generation of kids who've seen it all, right? They were not thinking of, let's make Japanese horror para kumalat siya sa buong mundo. They weren't thinking of that, right? They were thinking of just making the best possible kind of horror movie and showing a creature that people have not seen before, or a ghost that people have not seen before. Technically, it's a white lady. But when the white lady crawls out of your TV screen, ibang usapan na yon, di ba?
Oo, tama.
Suddenly, yung takot factor mo, parang hindi siya sa... Parang kasi iniisip mo, basta hindi ako dadaan ng Balete Drive, okay ako. Dito na lang. Diba? Dito na, kung ano-ano pasikot-sikot gagawin ko para lang hindi ako dumaan ng Balete Drive. Pero ngayon na alam mong may multo na pwedeng lumabas sa TV mo o lumabas sa computer screen mo, ibang klaseng takot na yun, di ba? So they were able to show something new, right? And I think that's what, you know, I think that's what we need to keep in mind. You know, it's not about let's make, you know, ngayon sikat ng Aswang dahil sa Trese, gawa pa tayo ng Aswang para sumikat siya sa ibang, you know, sa ibang bansa. You know, I think is the wrong way to do it. It's like, think of a story that no one else, I think of how has the Aswang story not been told, right? And then tell it in the best way possible, whether it's comic book, a podcast, movie, YouTube film, that, you know, tell it in that way, and then the audience will find you.
Right. Wait, before we get it, I just wanna say that Chino sent 100 stars para kay Sir Budjette. Sir, may stars ka daw po, 100. Thank you. Pero mag-ingat ka po kay Chino dahil siya po yung manghihingi ng ano.
Actually, natanong si Chino, kailan daw po lalabas sa mga toy collections ni Trese?
Yeah, I'd warn you against it because he gets his hands on all the toys he wants.
Eto Sir Budjette, simulan natin yung tanong. Etong mga tanong ko, you don't have to say anything. Just give us a hand gesture or a face reaction, 'di ba? We all know na si Liza Soberano, she did a great job voicing Alexandra Trese, 'di ba? Pero we know that people are, you know, like they have like preference na dapat si ganito, dapat si ganyan, like they have names, you know. They have names. And I saw the interview that you did with, I think that was 8less, di ba? Na it wasn't your choice na si ganito, pero she did a great job. So I accepted it. Like we all accepted it. She did a great job. So I come up with the names, like names that could voice Alexandra Trese. So give us a hand gesture or a face reaction. So first, Inka Magnaye.
Yeah, I saw her. Yeah, she did that was also pretty good. I saw her TikTok video.
Yeah, so he did say anything. So good tayo doon.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so good tayo doon. Okay.
If
Second,
I can talk about it, I'll talk about it. So go ahead.
Yes. Second, si Glyza De Castro.
I saw the video, but I think they used like clips from different, diba? From different or different teleserye. So it's hard to judge because it wasn't the exact words, but it sounded cool.
Okay, itong third, Rufa May Quinto.
Oh, that's interesting. I want to see that version.
Okay.
What's there?
Yeah. Ito it's kinda interesting for me to see this. Army of Apdarmodown voicing Alexandra Trese.
She has it. So I'm not sure, but here's the thing, and it's something I haven't really talked about. I think if my memory serves me right, which usually it doesn't, when Trese started to call the Kambal boys, let's go, or boys, we gotta go. There's a freak show coming to town. That came from Army, because when Army wraps up a set, that's what she says. She ends it with boys, let's chill. That's how she talks to the band. So she say, boys, let's do this, and then they play the last song. So, so yeah, it was one of those things that, she does that, when she talks, right? When she's like, especially on a gig, she does have that very, almost similar tonality to Trese. Wow. Except, of course, it's, but I don't know. I've never seen her angry.
This is mind blowing, man. This is mind blowing. Now, imagine like the way I'm seeing like the vocalist of Up Dharma Down now. That's Alexandra Trese right there. So ayun.
Have you watched the what's that concert that they have? The concert with the ghosts?
Not a live concert.
The Not a Live concert. You if you saw that, then you'd say the same thing. You'd say even more.
Ito last name, Lea Salonga.
If we ever do Trese the musical, that would be something we should do.
Let's go. What would be great? I mean, why not? Right? Yeah. Why not?
Eto, just give us a hand gesture and face reaction on this last question. Live action and TV series of Trese.
All right, let's go for it.
There you go.
Ayan na.
One-liner, and it's giving me the chills already just hearing it.
I mean, that was just to give you a background there. When Tanya Yuson, our producer, first picked up Trese, that was the intent. They were trying to pitch for a live action Trese all those years ago. So yes, we've gotten into serious discussion on how to produce it. Will it be a TV show? Will it be a live action movie or a TV show? Will it be a live action TV show produced in the States or in Asia or in the Philippines? So we were looking at all of those possibilities, and parang there was just always some missing ingredient before it would ever happen. So therefore, nung natuloy nga tong when the talks with Netflix anime started, parang parang ako nabuhayan ako na parang okay nga, parang then you don't need to worry about will you have enough money to do the best looking tikbalang, the best looking aswang, that you can, diba? And you're not suddenly conscious of, let's just cut down the scene and make her fight 3 aswang instead of 100 aswang. So, but yeah, I mean, I would still love to see live action Trese sometime.
Yeah, let's talk video game. Ito, huling question na talaga for me. Yeah. Video game.
Wait lang. Yeah. Before you answer that, I just want to say hello to JC Malapit. He's watching. It's also his birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday!
Happy birthday, JC. He's watching, talking about Trese video games. Go ahead, sir. I am not going to interrupt you in any way.
So, video game. Video game, diba? We've all seen Trese here. Like, mga tao na nandito, we've all seen Trese, diba? We saw like, some brutality in that show, So, this guy came in, Ed Boon, talk to you. We want Alexandra Trese in Mortal Kombat, but we want you to come up with a fatality. What is the fatality of Alexandra Trese?
That's a hard question, my friend.
A really hard question.
I want all of you to answer. I want all of you to have an answer as well. Well, the first thing that comes to mind, I guess, is summoning the San Telmo, and then you just see the opponent, slowly burn from you see the flesh burning off, and then the muscles burning off, and then it's a skeleton, and just collapses to ash.
And you still want us to answer after giving us that.
Dude, that's the perfect fatality.
I have an idea. May idea
go
ako.
for it.
Sige.
Lalabas si Crispin at Basilio, gagamitin nila yung Gatling gun hanggang sa madurog yung kalaban.
Uy.
Di ba?
Right. Tapos mag-a-appear silang dalawa.
Yes, oo.
Gago, now he can fit in the banyo. Ganon.
Hindi kasi nung pinanood ko yung di ba, yung pinanood ko yung Trese, there's this one move that Alexandra Trese made. Yung binato niya yung Chris sa aswang tapos tumusok sa mukha, di ba? Tapos hinugot niya na yon, di ba? Yung hinugot niya. That's like a perfect skull crushing move. Yung kita yung bungo and all that, di ba? Paano yung hugutin? Oo, di ba? Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I love that move. I love that scene right there.
Ikaw, Captain Mike, anong fatality mo ni Trese?
I was thinking of San Telmo eh. Yung biglang zoom up yung face niyang ganon, holds the cellphone, calls San Telmo. Tapos gives instruction, pag talikod niya ganon, susunugin niya yung kalaban niya to ashes. And then gives that Trese stare. Na you know it's her. Ganun yung ko nun eh. Tapos fatality lalabas na ganun.
Oo, di ba?
Ako may naisip ako. I don't think it's a fatality, but I think it's more of a brutality. You know that in Mortal Kombat that you continue to hit the person and the person explodes, right? But as you're doing Alexandra's combo, combo, and then suddenly hit the right brutality combination, lalabas si Maliksi. Tapos tama siyang ginugulpi niya yung tapos dadaganan niyang gano'n. I mean, that guy can be that would be cool though. Either Maliksi or the giant vigilante. I like that too. Yes. The giant vigilante is just
the judges.
The judges, yeah, the judges are cool. That's nga no, sana hindi sana nakikinig si JC malapit. Anyway, para may tanong ka ba? May tanong ka ba? Wala akong kasi kung wala, I will be asking my questions now.
And thank you. Naalala ko lang bigla BJ. Doon sa isang interview na napanood ko, saan binasi yung buhok ni Trese, di ba? Devil's Lock. Sabi ni Sir Budjette doon, pag ginupitan daw si Sir Kadjo, ganun daw yung buhok ni Trese. Doon daw binasi yun. Curious ako ngayon na parang,
So ano yung akin kay Anton? Ganon.
Yes.
Oo, yes. Oo.
Budget na nagsabi.
Thank you. At least kinonfirm. Ngayon nyo ako asaring panot. Man, Anton Trese in the house. Ang dali nga. Mga sigbin, ang mga tropa ko. We're talking about this. We're talking about, these what could have been, pero we forgot to ask it. You'd have to forgive us we're very excited to have you. How are you now? I distinctly remember our conversation about where the term aswang came. And it was a couple of years ago. And if you remember, kaya nga inaswang kasi kaya aswang ang tawag doon, baka aswangin ka eh. And starting from where it was to the Netflix adaptation being number one in a lot, you must be a very tired guy. I mean, success comes at a price, but how are you? How do you feel now that these things are happening? Sure. I mean, we're all fans asking you this question. Kamusta ka naman? I remember.
How are you doing?
Well, we're just trying to do the daily routine has not changed, BJ. We still have a day job, and at the end of the day, I still need to give Seraph a bath and wash his butt when he poops, right? So
right.
That's still the important thing to do. And the next thing that I'm trying to find time to do is, of course, write the next Trese story. But yeah, I mean, we can't help but appreciate and take a look at all of, I'm sure we haven't seen even 1/100th of the reactions from people. Trying my best to avoid people who are just negative about the whole thing. And just well, they didn't like it. You can't please everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we have the occasional. We have a little chat group with Tanya and the writers and Jay Oliva. So every time we see a funny meme or a comment, we talk about it, we share it. And I think it's an understatement to say it's a dream come true, because it feels like it's a dream come true times 10, right? Not just with the anime coming out, of course, but the whole marketing campaign with it and how people have reacted to it. I mean, these are the things that we were just dreaming of like, oh, what would be a cool way to promote the next Trese book, right? Let's have let's come out with a fake newspaper and have a fake headline about because it is crime based. So that's one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to take over the front cover of a tabloid so that it just grabs people's attention of like, is this for real? And of course they open it and it's a comic book. And yeah, all of those marketing efforts where they release the found footage supposedly of the Aswang, things like that.
I want to tell you, Sir Budge, we almost had a quarrel in the group. Captain Mike sends this thing, and then Kagawad Laska says like, that's not real. No, fuck, no, these guys ruined the entire thing. These guys. And they were
galit na galit si Mike nun eh.
Captain Noy.
Galit na galit si Captain. He's such a huge fan, right? And he sees, kasi we were admiring the post. It's like, shit, sabi na, we're gonna drive around South Expressway, right?
South Expressway. That was the plan, diba?
We're gonna pick you up, we're gonna go around, we're gonna take photos, and then these guys just ruined it. And it was a whole afternoon of no, man, it can't be, because the police would not allow it. It's like, no, sometimes the police aren't doing, nabago na usapan. And
that group chat was so, I was so pissed when I saw that. I sent
kahit
it
naman sino talaga.
Who would do this? Gumaganong pa ako, di ba? Parang, who in his right mind?
And then we found who, right? Not who, what? We saw what it was. Oh shit! There's an Aswang. God damn, that was good. And we just got punked by the guys who.
It's a prank.
It's a prank with an Aswang prank. Grabe yun.
And it was great to know that. So I got to talk to. So of course, as you may know, it was made by the ad agency Gigil, headed by Herbert Hernandez. But it was also great to find out that a fellow Comiquero, Apple Santa Maria, was part of the team that came up with those ideas. So again, it's just so interesting to find out that, guys that you would hang out with at Comic-Con have somehow become part of making this happen. And then the other thing I want to mention, talking about old colleagues and stuff like that, the takeover of ABS-CBN into converting it into ABC-ZNN was initially pitched by Gigil. And I don't know if I can talk about this, but the original plan was to really change the signage of ABS-CBN. And of course, even if it was just a one-day thing, that wouldn't be allowed. So with the help of the internal communications team of ABS-CBN, who used to be my team when I was in Macan. So it was Carlos Terona and Pats Concepcion who came up with the idea of let's put the signage on the other building and then turn all the windows to spell out Trese. So they got that idea came from them. They helped out Gigil to make it happen, and it was just so great to learn that old teammates helped out make this campaign happen.
Nice.
Right. Before we continue, I just wanna I just want to mention, Cap has had some comments. Cap, could you read them for us, please?
Okay, so let's start off with haba na kasi. We're checking, sabi ni Banana Animation is a very good medium rate choice. Sabi ni Joseph, reacting to the MK, Alexandra Salmon Saltelmo. Chino naman said, sinag from the head down to the crotch with Santelmo burning the insides. Brutal siya doon. I don't know why.
Very brutal.
Brutal mag-isip tong mga Pilipino, no?
I know, diba? Even Aaron Penn said, brutal kill with Kambal, then suddenly shot out Crispin Trese. Ganon.
Yes, that's perfect. I like that.
Chino reacted, at tikbalang comes in and kicks enemy sa ulo, with Alex piercing the heart. Tapos, eto, Brian Lim was asking when daw ang live action. So the question is when?
Oh no, that's not. That's definitely. I mean, we said we want to do it, but it all depends on how season 1 does. The better it does, the better it will have possible interest in having a live action. So the more successful the show becomes, the more opportunities a live action might happen. So let's see.
And I want to read out then, Sir Badge, about Katrina Olan's statement. Sabi niya, Sir Badge, you inspired a whole new generation of storytellers and reignited the passion of the older ones. It makes us all believe our stories can also make it to the world stage too.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I just want to make a point as well that it was it would not have happened without the perseverance and persistence of Tanya and Shanti, our producers. So yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of work for it to happen.
We bet we did. Kaya ang tanong ko siguro, Sir Badge, is when it was told to you na it's gonna be animated, first time sinabi sa'yo, what is your reaction to it?
Yeah, it was more of like, I got more excited with the possibility of animation rather than the live action. Because again, knowing that there's your biggest limitation, I guess, is your how many episodes you can do or how long will it be, right? Versus again, how realistic can you make this world look like, right? So learning that it would be anime was already exciting, and I knew what the potential of, depending how you animate it, that it could look great if not better. And then finding out that Jay Oliva was going to be our showrunner just made it more reassuring that it was going to be put in the hands of somebody who's done a lot of great work and a lot of my favorite work. So yeah.
There's so many things that were improved on and affected when the anime series, the animation came out. Just recently, just to point one out, kasi sabi ni Aaron Penn, is there going to be a mobile game? Trese is already a playable character in Brawl Quest. So you can see Alex, kicking some butt on mobile. Believe it or not, and I'm not sure about this though, but I know, but I'm sure that more and more people started to buy Choc-Nut again. I mean, yeah.
Can I just share a quick story about the Choc-Nut thing?
Yeah. I'm curious.
So, nitong weekend, I was going to do the editing video. We were talking about this, PJ. Nung weekend, sabi ko, I was looking for some packets of Choc-Nut. I live in Pasig.
Okay.
So, pumunta ako sa SM Hypermarket. Wala. I mean, that's a big store eh. Tapos, pumunta ako ng 4 na 7-Eleven.
Wala.
3 mini stop.
Wow.
Isang Family Mart, and they have nothing of
No
sorts.
way.
I was so shocked. Tapos sabi ko, I was so desperate to look for Choc-Nut. I went to the one place I did not see coming. Mercury Drug.
May sagot ako dyan, ha? Pero sige.
Mercury Drug, and they only had a pack. And I was like,
That's
teka mo,
amazing.
it is. Sabi ko. And people online, I was browsing my news feeds that same day. People were asking for a big size Choc-Nut.
Totoo ba talaga na may big Choc-Nut? Yan yung question ko.
Yeah, I mean, you know, ako gusto ko rin ng gano'n. Imagine mo one big Choc-Nut.
Sa sari-sari store ba nag-check ka ba? Nag-check ka ba, Mike, sa sari-sari store?
Wala na, gabi na nun, susarado na, di ba? So hindi ko malalaman eh. And probably kung meron, bibigyan ako isang piraso.
Ito kasi yun, pare. And Sir Budjette, please correct me. Alam mo kung bakit meron sa Mercury Drug? Ito ang lore niyan. Ito ang kwento niyan. Because Mercury Drug is also an essential thing in the Trese lore. She actually uses a sigil of healing to cast a healing spell on somebody that's injured.
Right.
And guess what she uses? She takes a piece of paper of the paper bug, puts it on the ground, uses sinag, does an incantation, and he heals the person. She heals the person using the Mercury Drug logo. You can look it up on Google. You guys,
Yes.
I'm saying the real thing.
No, nasa Netflix din yun. Nasa Netflix yun, actually.
Yes.
Exactly. Kaya merong Choc-Nut sa Mercury Drug. Kau naman
And this is this is at mga 10 p.m. Saturday, as in this is in Mercury Drug, a 24-hour store in Libis pa.
Wow.
Yes.
Doon pa ako nakakita.
At taga-Pasig po si Captain Mike.
That's
So
interesting.
traveling, it is.
I have been seeing also other people post about it or ask that question. So it seems like you're the best proof that it is sold out.
Man, if I were just to say as a business person, I should say you get royalties for everything.
Yes.
You ought to get one, man. All the hard work just gets wiped away. The Choc-Nut budget alone can wipe off the entire thing.
Tulad nung sabi sa comment, maglabas ng Choc-Nut Trese limited edition, 'di ba?
Yes. O yung malaking version, no?
Oo, yung malaki.
Ganito na isang buo lang na ganito kalaki.
Oo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be great.
Oo.
Ay, ito.
But you'd probably choke on it if you tried to. Take a big
Hindi ang
bite.
mga Nuno. Never the little Trese. You know, I don't know. Have you guys learned about the voice actors? Because you mentioned the voice actors kanina, Kagawad. There are quite a few interesting voice actors in the Trese animation that just blew our minds out when we started to learn about it. Did you know that if you guys play Dragon Age, the voice actor for Ogren, the dwarf, was the voice actor they used in the American dub.
Wow.
Oh.
There's also there's a list of these people. Mr. Krabs is there. Sandy Cheeks is there. It's just crazy. The amount of people that this show drew towards itself. It's just fantastic. We were reading about it. My brother and I, we were just going crazy as to who voiced who here. It's just wonderful. Did you get a pick on who gets to do the voice acting, or did they just show it to you? Okay,
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I mean, me and Kajo had no involvement in the production. That was all Jay. I mean, that's the reason why you get Jay Oliva,
Right.
and who also worked with, and I'm forgetting the name of his casting director. I mean, he got the same casting director he got for all of his other animated features. So it's working with people who've done really great stuff in the past. So yeah, I mean, do you really want to delay the process of Jay making his pick and then getting sent to me and Kajo for me and Kajo to pick Like, oh, maybe that other guy will be better.
Right.
So yeah, and we had one day spent with Jay and Tanya and the team. Kajo literally went into the workshop area where they were. I got to talk to them on video. But that was it. After they asked us a whole bunch of questions about the characters and the world and the creatures. And after that, of course, it was up to them. Their job, their task was to find the best way to adapt it into an anime. And that's what they're good at.
Right. You'll be surprised if you look. There's do you know Foop from Fairly Odd Parents? That character was also voiced by the same actor, man. I mean, we have that's Nuno. So Nuno and Foop from Fairly Odd Parents have the same character. Steve Blum, Steve Blum is there. He is both Wolverine and Sub-Zero, and the guy who voiced Master Chief in the original Halo in the Japanese is Atsuki Tani. He's there. Ang galing. It's just really awesome stuff. Sure, God.
Ako ito may isa ako sa Japanese, yung ating main character natin sa Trese. Ang nag-voice sa kanya is si Ryoko Shiraishi. Isa siyang kilalang voice actress sa Japan, and she's one of the most known. Kumbaga, she voiced some of the characters in One Piece.
Wow.
Sa
Sino siya sa One Piece?
Yes. Siya si Akibi. Si Akibi. And also, meron din siya na Tenjo Tenge, siya si Chiaki Konaike. Siya nag-voice siya sa kanya doon sa And also, yung mga favorite ko, which is yung Negima Master Negi, which is a very nice anime as well. Siya si Kaide. So, yun. So, kaya natutuwa ako, I'm getting goosebumps kung nalaman ko yung mga voice character, especially sa Japanese. Really nice.
I haven't watched the Japanese version, but I'm looking for. A lot of people are saying they love it as well.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you should. We started copying the Japanese dub of the Filipino incantations. Just awesome. Konbanwa Nuno. Mga karurua. It's so. I so love saying it. Okay, so we have that. One more thing that we want to ask you though is that we saw an image online that's floating around, and that's a Trese action figure. We saw that, and we want to get our hands on it. I'm pretty sure Chino wants to get his hands on it right now. Right, Chino? Wala nang intro. Alam niyo yun. Gusto ko yun. Tell us about this, and when is this gonna come out?
I think it's Loose Collector Collectibles is the one that's producing it. I think the target is around Halloween.
Wow.
I think that's the plan. I mean, if you're following them on Facebook, they will regularly update the production schedule and when it's gonna come out. But I think Halloween is when it's targeted to come out. Mm-hmm. So again, thanks to everyone who pre-ordered it, and you get a Tyanak.
Yeah. You get a Tyanak if you're one of the first 500. I think first 500, right? First 500 people who ordered it. The Tyanak is yours, which is probably one of the scariest stories, and I've learned this from himself, from Sir Budj himself, that he scared himself writing the story about the Tyanak. Right? I mean, I remember you said that. There's an interesting question here from Jake Blasco. He said, if Square Enix, the creators of Final Fantasy, would step forward and offered to turn Trese into an RPG, open world JRPG, would you give them permission?
Oh, why not?
So ang tanong, movie, toy line, or video game, what would you want to prioritize?
What would I want to prioritize? Video game.
Hindi, pero
Wow.
Yung
laban mga yung nasa Philippine Mythology, yung mga mythological creatures, no? Yung mga ganun.
Hindi bro, pag tiningnan mo ang Manila, parang imposible maging open world dahil asikip ng Manila . Yung tondo pa lang.
Manila, it cannot be an open world game. It has to be a dungeon crawler, man.
Oh.
Dungeon.
Yeah, that's
Diablo.
Or there should be moments where you're just stuck in traffic.
Oh.
Yung loading screen. Yung loading
That's the loading screen. The loading screen. As nasa jeep ka, ganyan, you have to buy a DLC to upgrade yourself to a Grab.
Parang naisip ko tuloy, speaking of games, parang naisip ko tuloy, no, what if yung may augmented reality nun, no? Ang objective mo lang is just to kill the aswangs. Pag umiikot na yung mobile phone mo, bigla makakita na aswang.
I think that was part of the marketing plan. It just didn't push through.
Yun lang.
Not the game, but I think there were plans to do augmented reality when you point at the billboard or something, but it didn't push through. But yes, that would be a fun game to do.
Right, but that'd be scary though. I mean, like you're walking around, right? And suddenly, the aswang is right there. Okay lang kung aswang, Brad, eh. Kasi the aswang, they're kind of, this is a physical threat, right? Now, let's say somebody like Talagbusao is right there. Like, you're F all throughout. F out. Definitely. You can't do anything anymore. Okay, sir, take it home. One really, really interesting thing that we also want to hear about is Tiger Burning Bright. Okay. I don't know if you can talk about it already or what?
So what's the question?
Why though? Why? Why'd you do it, man? I mean, I was reading it, and these guys have no idea yet. So let's.
Okay.
They have no idea what happened, but now that I've mentioned it, I'm pretty sure they'll find out soon. But tell us, you know, how this is going to. This is going to be the next chapter. Is it going to be part of the next chapter? Will this be featured soon? I mean, we want to read more about it. It's a very interesting part of the story. And if you guys haven't searched it yet, search it now. All right? Because the first question you're going to ask is, why, Sir Budjette? What made you think about this thing, though? I mean...
No, it's just funny how it ended up becoming a hot topic, no pun intended. But it became a hot topic in the Trese Facebook group. So Tiger Burning Bright is one of the scripts I have given to Kadjo, and it should be, or it can be, like the first story for book 8, right? You know, when I write the scripts, I make it up as I go along. So it really depends on like what kind of story catches my interest at the time, and it's not really about here is the plan on an Excel sheet, and these are the plot points I want to hit. We know where we want to take it. We know how it ends. We don't know how to get there. We don't know what happens between book 8 and book 13. So anyway, one of the things I've always wanted to do was to have Trese visit other countries. And it just so happens that, of course, since Base Entertainment, the production company of Trese, is located in Jakarta, I wanted to, in a way, pay tribute to Shanti and her team, and I got to spend a week in Ubud, one of the islands in Indonesia, for a writers' festival. And that island is just everywhere you turn, they celebrate and commemorate their folklore, right? From like 10-foot tall statues of their gods to like the sculpture on the corner of a chair. There's a story there somehow, you know. But the point being, you know, it was just fascinating to see a country like that embrace their mythology and folklore in that way. So point being, I just said, okay, I want Trese to go to Jakarta, and I need a reason for her to go to Jakarta. So she's now in Jakarta looking for a cure. And just so that we don't spoil it, BJ, for everyone else, so she's looking for a cure because someone close to her got a curse. So in theory, Kadjo started to draw it, right? and then we would slow down and pick it up again and slow down. And the big reason why we haven't been able to finish it is because we have been busy, or Kadjo mostly has been busy, preparing books 2 and 3 for Ablaze, right? And of course, that's what came out in Avenida. So he would redraw certain scenes or pages or certain panels. So si Kadjo rin started to feel, hindi na natin na-update yung Trese group, right? Or we haven't been doing anything new. So Kadjo came up with a plan. Like always, Kadjo has the plan. He said, Budge, para lang umandar ulit tong kwento na to, I will draw 4 to 5 pages a week and then toss it to you so that you can put the dialogue, because we wrote it Marvel style, right? I just wrote to him, here's the plot, here's what happens, ikaw na bahala mag-break down into pages and panels. So it just so happens that when Kadjo decided to, and he said, I'll do it every week so we can upload it on a weekly basis. So it just so happens that at a certain point in the story, you see somebody die, right? you see somebody get the curse. And to me, it was like, okay, that's a nice place to, end this week's chapter. And we uploaded it. And of course, the following week was when we got busy doing the book again. And we just said, okay, we'll just go back to it when we're ready to go back to it. And then the next time I looked at the Facebook page, it was in hell.
What do you expect, dude? I mean, with all due respect to you, sir, and I love you with all my heart as a fan, as a creator. But what did you think?
You weren't.
It was. You see how they look? Okay, I'm not gonna say anything because I'm gonna spoil it if I say anything else. So just look it up, guys. That I'm a Tiger Burning Bright. This really puts a spin into a lot of things. Shout out to Sir Ben Banta, who is watching us right now for running the games. He said, Sir Budjette, thank you, congratulations. He's a fan of yours. He's watching. He's the head of running the games. He created the Bayani video game. So he's here with us here. Si Senpai Lee Charles Delena is also here. So
my question siya actually.
And I want to ask, may burning question po ako, sabi ni Senpai Lee. And he says, pan ba talaga na yung Santel mo galing sa Santel telephone mo?
I didn't talk about that.
If you read the comic book, you'd know why he comes from the cell phone. So I guess that's one of the things that they just left as an Easter egg, I guess, for people to figure out. But yes, if you read the comic book, you will find out that Trese summons the Santelmo by dialing the number of the Great Binondo Fire. And normally there is a longer ritual that's involved. So the first time she did it, she needed a white candle and a mirror. And that's where the Santelmo came out. And eventually, I guess she figured out how to make him an app. So she just presses one button and out comes the Santelmo. But it was great that, because you have to remember, that comic book was written back in 2005. So so that's why Nokia pa yung gamit ni Trese in that story. And if you read the Trese books, Trese's cell phone changes depending kung ano yung cellphone ni Kadjo at that moment. But sila J. Oliva, since they got the book, they saw, she uses a Nokia. So they gave her the Nokia phone. And in a way, it kind of just makes it, I don't know, archaic. It's such something that you've already considered useless in this day and age. So it still suddenly makes that old cell phone magical again.
Right. Well, you have a question, Cap? You want to ask?
No, not a question. Pero someone in the comments just mentioned, nung nakita ko yun ng hina ko, he might be relating dun sa sinasabi nyo kanina.
Tiger Burning.
Tiger Burning.
Mamaya natin pag-usapan yan, humanda kayo may. Kasi si Kagawad Ravenize sabi, when Sir Budjette said someone was cursed, his face was like, And then you mentioned somebody died. Tingnan natin kung mukha mo mamaya. Ewan ko lang kung makaronda ka mamaya. Pero
Yes,
ito
DJ,
yung...
you need to give them the links to...
Di muna ako manghuhuli ng bata mamaya. Magbabasa ako ng comics. Bahala kayo.
Malamang tawagan mo si Salmen, si Santelmo dahil dyan. Malamang, tawagan mo. Tapos pakawalan mo siya sa labas. Ano lang gagawin?
So habang inaano nila yan, Sir Budge, para sa mga nag-aabang, what is, for you, in a one-liner, what would be the future of Trese?
More mysteries to solve. I think that's and we did a bunch of research. Well, not a bunch. We read a bunch of books. to put it simply, when me and the guys made the Alejandro Pardo books, we got to read some of the books of Maximo Ramos. And that opened my eyes to a whole lot of creatures that has never been featured. So it would be great for one of these days for Trese to encounter these other monsters, or for Trese's brothers. And that's the reason why we started Trese Bloodlines. We wanted to expand the storylines and have yes, thank you, BJ. And see the other brothers, what happened to them, what's keeping them busy that they're not helping out Alexandra during these moments. But yes, I mean, they do. I mean, so yeah. I mean, I think more mysteries to be solved is the general direction of Trese.
Nice. Now, before we end this, and I know you're a very busy guy, and I want to let you go and take your rest, because God knows, we're very happy for the work that you've done. I personally, and I'm pretty sure I speak in behalf of the team, that when I first spoke to you a couple of years ago, and you mentioned that there might be, an animation in the future, we've done nothing but look forward to it. And I don't know a lot of things. And happy birthday, JC. But I'm gonna mention a couple of names, and then I just want that game F, Marry, Kill. Right? So we're gonna do the same thing, but this is gonna be Alexandra, and I'm gonna be mentioning a couple of characters, and you just say friend, rival, foe. Yun na lang. Para medyo PG-13 kami dito.
Yeah.
Nakabarong pa man din ako, tapos ganun sasabihin. Right. So, okay. First off, friend, rival, foe. I'm gonna start off with the first name, Batman.
Rival.
Carl Kolchak.
Oh, friend.
Constantine.
Most probably foe.
Penduko.
Friend.
Okay. I forgot. Wait. There's one more. Kapitan Bawang.
Oh, Kapitan Bawang. I don't know. Somewhere between rival and friend, I guess. That's interesting. Yep. And
Joaquin Bordado.
Ooh. Foe. I'd love to see that as a foe.
Nice.
Elias Paniki.
Maybe rival.
Okay. Panday.
Friend.
Hellboy.
Friend. Yep.
Finally, and this is your favorite story, Darna.
Ooh.
Taking into account our secret constellation. Yes, I love that.
No, I'm just trying. The easy answer is that that she would be a friend, of course. But it would be interesting to see her. To be to put her in the role of a rival for Trese, just to shake things up, because that's the expected thing. Everyone expects them to team up and be friends and fight the bad guys, but it would be. Let's see. I mean, because also, if you think about it, Darna would do the good thing. Trese would do what needs to be done. And it might not always be a good thing, right?
Right. And that puts her. And I'm surprised you mentioned Constantine is a foe.
Only because Constantine is an asshole. So, you know.
That's right.
So it might, he might be, Trese would never approach Constantine for help, but Constantine might go to Trese and try to, get a deal out of her or try to trick her into doing something for him. So yeah, it's never going to be a good adventure when Constantine is involved.
So the hidden question there is, of course, Lucifer. Constantine being a foe, that makes Lucifer Morningstar at the same point, right?
They're probably rival bar owners, is what they are.
Because bossing,
Oo nga.
Right. May comment lang si Ella Antigua. Hello po. Alex and Hellboy could commiserate about their destinies. And how about would outdrink the Kambal? Yeah, I think Hellboy would be a good match for the Kambal's drinking.
Correct.
That is if Hank doesn't kick him out of the bar first. Pretty
I
sure.
think they'll get along. They'll probably get along. Hellboy and Hank.
There's so many things that affected us with your work, and we're only speaking as mere fans, Sir Budjette. But as it is custom here at G, we try to make it a little bit worth your while by showing you someone or some people that have been affected. Now, unfortunately, it's not. This is the best we could do. But I think Kagawad has found a very interesting bit of history that he would like to show you in honor of you guesting here in our show and being leading the way, so to speak, into Pinoy folklore and these horror stories entering into the scene. So Kagawad, meron ka bang meron ka bang evidence? This is a crime story, right?
So Sir Budjette, can you see our stream on your phone or and listen to it? Yeah, go to our stream and
How do I do that?
yeah.
How do I do that? It's on your Facebook page.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I can see it now.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Dito, we know that you're a legend already in our eyes, so we pay tribute to the legends, that's what we do here to the show, diba? So I found this interesting video from way back. So here it is. I'll play it to you. This is someone I think that's familiar to you.
On your stream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Cheers, Choc-Nut.
Cheers to the Choc-Nut. Yeah.
We would like to have given you more, but I don't think we can top what Manong Jerry has done.
Yes. Of course, yeah. It's great to see. It was always great to see Jerry just create something with his videos that was not comic book related and just have pure fun doing it. But that was great. I'd forgotten about that video, but yes, so much fun.
Well, I hope that you had fun as much as we did. I swear to God, the days could not have come any longer today. When I first mentioned this to you, everybody was waiting. We were just hoping that you could join us. And now you have, and thank you very much. And that's it. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, guys. We've actually run out of time. So if you have any questions, you've had your chance. But thank you very much, everybody who joined us for the live stream. Again, your last words for everybody. Please head on over to our page, just like it. Sir Budge, do you want to invite them somewhere apart from the Netflix we're going to watch later and the books that we're going to buy also? Is there something that you want them to know? Your last words for the evening, sir.
If you want to know what the heck BJ is talking about, just go to the Trese Facebook page and look for Tiger Burning Bright. Yes. Thank you again. Thank you, guys. And thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Thank you so much for supporting, reading, and watching Trese.
Pleasure is ours, sir. So again, this has been another episode of Gamers, Geeks, and Good Times with none other than none other than Mr. Budjette Tan. Look at that, man. Look at that. And again, this is your host, BJG, along with Captain Mike, Papi, Raffy of YRP Gaming, and of course, Kagawad Ravenize. But of course, Chino, Tiger Burning Bright, Chino. Wala ka laruan. Thank you very much. We'll catch you next time. And tune in next Wednesday because I want to review another book for you as we end the month, and we're going to be reading this book next time, this Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye. We're going to be talking to Sir Budge as we are going down. So just stay there. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye. We're gonna have our fan moment. Bala kayo.
Bye. Uwi na kayo. May karpyo. Uwi na kayo ha. May karpyo ngayon. Uwi na.
Karpyo. Kami na lang muna rito.